Right, and the timer starts. 3, 2, 1, go. I used to actually watch speedruns in this game, but I know the route. Oh my god! Ready for this skill move. Oh. Oh. That's it! Oh, it's the first game done. Surely this whole thing won't be so bad, right? "22 games, 1,200 levels, and over 250 hours of recording. This video took way too long to record, and also a lot of PC storage, so please, if you could watch it all the way through, I would really appreciate that. Anyway, let's go right back to where we left off. If you've ever played this game before, you know it feels vastly different to every other Mario game. And you'd been right in thinking that. This game is actually just a port of a Japanese game named Doki Doki Panic, except they swapped out all the original characters from Mario characters. This game was also, like, very easy, but just because it's easy doesn't mean it's not annoying. Like, take 6-1 for example. This whole level is just a pick a path. Pick a pot? And then, when you do eventually pick a pot, you won't know if it's the right or wrong one until you dig through like 15 layers of sand. And there are also these enemies that just fall down the original Hold Your Mind and you just keep dying over and over and over again. Also, all the bosses in this game are basically the same. They fling an object at you, you pick up the object, and you fling the object at the boss. If you don't look at the negatives of this game, it's actually quite a fun game to pass the time. Something I do really like about this game is you can pick between 4 different playstyles. You can play as Toad if you want to run fast. Or you can play as Luigi if you want to jump high. Or even play as Peach, which she gets like a little float ability, which allows you to stay in the air for a bit. Or, if you want to play as the main man himself, Mario, for his ability to be Mario. Oh, and from here on out, we're going to be rating the games on a scale from 1 to 10. So I'm going to give this game a 6, because it was fun, but it was just too short for me to really enjoy it. Anyway, what was the next game again? Don't you dare ever speak to me about this game again! I'm sorry to the 4 Super Mario Bros 3 fans that haven't died yet, but this game was actually one of the worst experiences I've had playing a Nintendo game. Oh wait, I forgot, Mario Kart Tour exists. I'm fucking bullshit! For some reason, this game was one of the most frustrating games I've ever played, with its stupid mechanics and stupid levels. Like, take the whole of World 5 for example. Every time you wanted to get from the bottom of the world to the top, and vice versa, you had to play through this absolutely abysmal level. Oh, and you might be thinking, why would you have to go up and down the world so much? Oh boy, let me tell you. Every single time you game overed in this game, you get sent right back to the first level of the world. Oh, and you might also be saying, oh, it's just a skill issue. So yeah, you could say, when I played it, I did not enjoy it that much. But anyway, the game starts off with you in World 1, which doesn't even have a name. In the final castle of this world, you meet up with a character named Larry Cooper. Going through the game, in basically every final castle, you meet up with one of these guys called the Koopalings. These guys were added to the game to make every boss fight feel unique and fresh. This was actually a really good feature of this game. As long as Nintendo doesn't overuse it in multiple games in the future. They wouldn't do that. Right? At the core of it, every Koopaling kind of follows the same formula. They try to attack you, you jump on their head, they go into their shell, then they're stuck, and you can just keep jumping on their head until they die. Although, some of the Koopaling battles I actually found quite interesting. Like, in the fight you do with Wendy Koopa, she shoots these rings all over the place which damage you. Or if you really want to bounce around, you can do the fight with Lemmy. In Lemmy's fight, you bounce around in between his balls. They don't really damage you, but they do fling you around the place, and that can knock you off the edge. But the Koopalings aren't the only boss fights in this game. There is the main turtle himself, Lord Bowser. This was actually the first game to have a unique Bowser fight instead of you just jumping over his head and flicking a switch. Basically, you're in an arena with a bunch of brick blocks on the floor, and Bowser will like do these attacks where he'll shoot fireballs at you, but his main attack is where he'll try ground pound you and he'll break the brick blocks doing that. The way you beat him is by letting him break through enough layers of bricks and letting him fall into the void. Once Bowser's defeated, the door opens and we can go into the back room where Peach is crying. And she comes over and tells us, "Oh Peach, you cheeky bitch." I forgot to say the rating of the last game, so it was a 4 out of 10. Super Mario Land is one of those obscure Mario games that no one really talks about anymore. It's because this game was originally released on the Game Boy, which was one of the first handheld gaming consoles, meaning it didn't have a lot of memory. This meant the Game Boy couldn't really run the best of games, and that's why Super Mario Land exists. One thing I would like to say about this game is it has one of the best soundtracks out of the entire series, and I will die in that hill. For some reason this game doesn't take place in the Mushroom Kingdom, it takes place in a place called Sarasaland? Also, you aren't fighting Bowser trying to save Peach, you're fighting Tatanga trying to save Daisy. Wait, that's fucking Daisy? Daisy is objectively one of the best Mario characters in the entire series. I didn't even know that was Daisy. Honestly, I don't really have much else to say about this game because it took me like 30 minutes to beat, so 5 out of 10. This game is genuinely one of my favourite 2D Mario games. This game added so many features that stayed throughout the Mario series, like cutscenes, an actual map, Yoshi! This game is honestly one of the best 2D Mario games, from the controls to the features. It's just incredible. But anyway, we start off with finding out that Bowser has taken Peach again, her original. Except this time it takes place in a place called Dino Land. What I really like about this game is right off the bat you get to pick between 2 different levels. You can either go to the right to play a level that's filled with bonsai bills, or you can go to the right, which is a level filled with Koopas, and is that Yoshi! What I really like is if you beat the left level, you get to go to this bonus stage type thing, and at the end there's this big like badoinga boing. But anyway, after a couple levels we can make it to the tower of this world where we face off against Iggy Koopa. Okay, you know what, they brung back the Koopalings, but they do have different boss fights than the first game, so I'll let them off of that. This game does just follow the same formula that every other Mario game uses. You're just making your way through worlds to try and save Peach. The power-ups in this game are kind of confusing in a way. Like, you got your basic mushroom and fire flower, but this game added a new power-up called the cape. And after playing through this game, I still don't understand how to use it. You can float with it to make your fall slower, or you can spin with it to hit enemies, or you can fly with it, I think. The first 2 methods are easy to do, and honestly quite useful. But the flying, oh my god, I just do not understand how it works. There was also this power-up, I think? Apparently Pyrocynical works at Nintendo, because this just makes Mario bloated. What also makes this power-up even weirder is it only appears in 4 levels in this entire game. It also doesn't even last forever, which is odd. This power-up makes me feel weird. Anyways, let's go right back to the final castle. For some reason, Nintendo decided to make the last level like a pick-a-path, but I think every way is right. I mean, I wouldn't know because I'm such a gamer and didn't die at all. The way it works is each door brings you to a different path, and behind those paths it's like a different challenge. After picking 2 doors, we can make it to the disco section. Woo! There is no need for this section to exist. Like, the level's like dark, but not pitch black, so I can see what I'm doing. And this disco ball like kind of gives you a light, and it's supposed to help you. Honestly, this section just made me feel nothing. But after the disco section, we make it to the final fight. Oh, final boss fight? This fight is actually really cool. The fight contains 3 different phases. Phase 1. He flies down and swoops to the other side of the screen. Then he flings these little guys that you gotta fling back at him. Phase 2. At the end of phase 1, he just leaves and he shoots fire all over the arena. Then he comes back, but instead of swooping, he schmoves. He's a little schmover. But you do the same with the goobers, and then he flies off. Bowser comes back, and instead of swooping or schmoving, he badoing-a-doings. Badoing-de-boing-de-boing-de-doing-doing. Anyway, you do the same with the guys, then you finally kill Bowser. After that, Peach comes out of the clown car and gives Mario a little smooch. After that, we get to the credits. That's not happened before, that's new. But with that, we can finally move on to the next game. Wait, why aren't you cutting? There's more? Yeah, this is the first game that has some post content. Yay, that's great. That makes us so much easier. When you beat the game, you can make your way over to the Star World, which has the hardest levels in the entire game. These levels were honestly more annoying than hard, I really can't lie. And we beat these levels, and then beat the game. 8 out of 10. This game is basically just Super Mario Land, but better. Way. So basically this game takes place on Mario's personal island, and Wario stole it for some reason. I will say, this game does have some unique power-ups. Like, take the Fire Flower for example. Instead of just being a colour palette swap, it gives Mario this little feather in his hat. Or even take the Bunny suit for example. This suit is basically the cape in the sense that you can float with it. And that's about it. It also makes Mario a furry. Something I think is really cool about this game is you can kind of just pick what world to go to at any time. There isn't really a direct path for you to go. Your only goal is to collect 6 golden coins so you can make it into the mansion and fight Wario. Yeah, the final castle is just meh. It's kind of cool because you're kind of climbing to the top of the castle to fight Wario. But anyway, let's move on to the final fight. In this fight, Wario has 3 phases. Phase 1. No, we're not. In phase 1, Wario shakes his ass and these vases fall from the roof. You hit him twice and you move on to phase 2. In phase 2, Wario eats a bunny carrot and becomes a furry. And that's literally all that changes. I don't think anything else changes except he has these little bunny ears now. And phase 3 is the same, except he eats a fire flower this time and shoots fireballs at you. Anyway, that's literally all I have to say about this game because it was really short and I had nothing else to talk about. So I'll give it a nice healthy 3 out of 10. This game really bored me. This game, for being the first major 3D video game, is honestly such a great game. I'm not gonna lie, I think this is where the Mario series had a big turning point, as this is where I think the games start to get really good. This was also the first Mario game to not have levels and worlds. It's more of stages in a hub, if that makes sense. But anyway, the game starts off with Peach sending a letter to Mario, saying she's baked a cake, and requests him to come to the castle. And then we see the most famous opening cutscene ever. After this, Mario pops out of a pipe and you can make your way over to the castle. Once you enter, you find out that Peach has actually been stolen by Bowser, and what you have to do is collect all the power stars to restore the power in the castle and save Peach. Once Bowser stops yapping, you can make your way over to the first level, Bob-omb Battlefield. This level is actually such a good level to start the game off with. This level is probably the most linear level out of all of them, but I think that really works in its favour. This level is basically a tutorial on how the game works, and it also helps people kind of adjust to the 3D gameplay. After running through this level and climbing up the summit of this mountain, you meet with our first boss, King Bob-omb. This boss, in all fairness, is quite easy, but you know, it's the first star in the entire game. You gotta let it go. The way you fight him is you gotta run around the back of him, because he turns so slow for some reason. You pick him up, and you throw you drop him. You drop him on the ground 3 times, and he just fucking explodes. You collect the star, and get sent right back to the castle. The second star on this level is actually one of my favourites in the entire game. When you load into the level, you see that there's a Koopa waiting at the start for you. You walk up to him, and that initiates a race to the summit of the mountain. And he fucking cheats! But after doing the rest of the stars on this level, we can take a little detour and go to a mini level named Peach's Secret Slide. This slide isn't really a level per se, as it only has 2 stars. The first star is just for sliding down the whole slide, and the second star is for beating the slide in under 21 seconds. But anyway, after that little detour, we can go over to the actual second level, Cool Mountain. This level has some of the most unique stars in the entire game. Like, take this one star, we have to take this baby penguin that spawns all the way at the top of the mountain, all the way down to the mama, right at the bottom. Or take this star, we have to guide this snowman's body down to its head. I really don't like this star. For some reason, the snowball doesn't go where you want it to go, and if you don't guide it perfectly, it just goes flying off the edge. If you just don't think about that star, all the rest of the stars in this level are honestly quite fun. Moving on to the next level, we go to a level named Womp's Fortress. This is the second level in the game that has a boss. And the boss in this level is really cool actually. The way you fight him is he'll basically follow you around the arena and try to body slam you. And what you have to do is run around him and ground pound his back. Do this 3 times, then he explodes. This fight would be a really nice and challenging fight if it wasn't for a really easy glitch you can do. There's this glitch that's used in speedruns, and it's really easy to pull off. Basically, when he's slamming down, if you ground pound at the exact right time, he'll just kind of clip through him. Anyways, after collecting all the stars in Womp's Fortress, we can make our way over to the next Paitndt, which is a level named Jolly Rancher Bay. I meant Jolly Roger, I'm thinking of Jolly Ranchers. This level is unfortunately a water level, but hold on, most of the stars in this level are good. And I say most because this stupid eel star exists. There's this star called Can the Eel Come Out to Play, and the star consists of you going underwater and taunting this eel out of his cave, and then once he's out, you gotta grab the star that's on his tail. This star would be manageable if the physics just weren't dog awful. When taunting the eel out of his cave, sometimes he just won't come out, and I don't know why. And then when I do eventually get him out, he swims so fast, and it's just incredibly hard to catch him. And I'm yet to mention, you're basically on a timer this entire time, because it's underwater, and Mario can't breathe infinitely. And also, anytime you go back to the surface to get a little bit of breath back, he pushes away back into his cave! Anyway, we eventually collect this star, and we can make our way into the first Bowser fight. I changed the flag! This level, in all fairness, is pretty easy. You basically start right here. Then you gotta go to these spinning platforms, go up this winding path, jump on these seesaws, and make your way into the pipe where you fight Bowser. This game has 3 separate Bowser fights. The one we're doing right now, the one when you get 30 stars, and the final one at 70 stars. Throughout all these fights, nothing really changes. I mean, yeah, in the second fight he tilts the platform, or in the third fight he breaks the platform into a star, but I mean, the core of the fight is the same. You pick up Bowser by the tail, you spin him around in a circle for a bit, and then you fling Bowser into a bomb. Well, Mario says this: "So long, Bowser!" We enter the pipe, fling Bowser into a bomb, call him gay, and we collect the key he was holding, letting us go into the basement. In the basement, we get a choice between 3 different levels: Shifting Sandland, Lethal Lava Land, and Hazy Maze Cave. The first place I went to was Shifting Sandlands, and this gave me a wave of nostalgia. And you're probably saying, bro is 16, how does he feel nostalgic over a game that came out in 1996? And that's because they re-released this game on the DS. I don't know why it only happened with this level, but it just hit me with a massive wave of nostalgia, especially inside the pyramid. The level has some huge ass pyramid in the middle, and it actually lets you enter and explore the inside. Anyway, we collect all the stars in this level, and make our way over to the next level, Hazy Maze Cave. This level is like the Mario 64 equivalent to an underground level. This level is basically just a bunch of winding, twisty tunnels that sometimes lead you nowhere. Anyways, 4 stars. Was nice, but the owner was a bit weird. Honestly, the next level we go to is Lethal Lava Land, but there's not much to say about it. It's just a big lava level. And that's all. Cool puzzle. After these 3 levels, we can make our way to the second Bowser fight. This level is like the first Bowser stage, except they made it longer and filled it with lava. But we make it through the level, call Bowser gay, and grab the key, which gives us access to the upstairs. The upstairs actually has a good amount of levels, and most of these levels have really cool concepts. And I say most, but we make our way over to the first level on the top floor, Wet Dry World. The best way I can describe this level is like a dream you would have during an after school nap, especially the background. The background in this stage is just a random city in Yemen. This level also has an insanely cool gimmick. Around the level there are these diamond looking things, and if you touch them it will change the water level to the diamond. There's also this secret town when you go through this tunnel, which is really eerie. Anyways, after this really eerie level and 2 irrelevant levels, we can make our way over to such a cool level. Tiny huge island. This level will either be one of 2 things. It will either be really big and you'll be tiny, or the level will be really tiny and you'll be huge. You can also use these pipes that are all around the level, and entering them will take you to the other stage, either making you big or small. I will say the 1 star that I heavily glazed in Bob on Battlefield is a bit of a pain here. You see, Koopa the Quick is in this level again, but only appears in this huge part of the stage, and he is super fast for some reason. Koopa Star's my only nitpick of this level, and everything else combined, this makes it my favourite level in the entire game. But after completing this, we can use all the stars we collected and go up another flight of stairs and get to the top of the castle. The levels up here are, shite. I mean, you have Tick-Tock Clock, which is a level based on a giant grandfather clock. That level's fine. But oh my god, the other level up here, Rainbow Ride, is genuinely one of the worst levels I've ever played. This level is basically all in the sky, and if you make the tiniest mistake, you just die. Every single time. All the stars in this level are also shit. For one of these stars, you have to click this button that inverts all these cones, which works as platforms so you can get to the top. This would be fine if the timer on the button wasn't super tight. Or what about this star where you have to ride on this super long carpet ride all the way up to the house in the sky, but if you fall, you have to do this star all over again, making it the worst level in the entire game. Anyway, after beating this dog awful level, we can collect a couple more stars I missed, then make it to the final level where we can face off against Bowser one last time. The level we have to get through though is an absolute gauntlet of a level. Let me give you the rundown. You start off on a platform that is shaped like an arrow pointing you in the way you're supposed to go. You run a bit and make it to the seesaw platform with a thwomp directly after it. We run a tiny bit more and make it to this vertical wall that Mario can just run up for some reason. And then we get to the platform part. This part is basically just a moving platform with some walls in the way, and you have to jump over them. At the end of the conveyor, you get a choice between jumping to this pole, which saves more time, but you have a risk of falling all the way to the bottom, or going the long way to these 2 spinning platforms with a pole at the end. Of course, because I'm a gamer, I went for the faster option, didn't go the long way. After this section, we can make our way over to the final section, the Windy Goomba section. This section, in all fairness, is not actually that bad. It's like a platform that tries to push you back with wind, and there's a couple Goombas trying to stop you. Because this section's right at the top, if you fall off, you'll most likely land in an earlier part of the level and you won't have to do it all again. Except if you're me, apparently, because I got so unlucky and fell all the way off and had to do this level all over again. But anyway, after this whole section, we can finally make it past the wind section to the final Bowser fight. This fight, like I said earlier, is the exact same to the earlier fights. This time was a bit harder though, because Bowser did break the platform halfway throughout the fight, and you have to fling him into 3 bombs. But even with this extra layer of difficulty, the boss is still relatively easy. But after flinging him into 2 bombs, we do it one more time, calling Bowser a homosexual, and we finish Super Mario 64. This game was just perfect. From the levels to the controls, it was so fun to 100%. 8.5 out of 10. I'm sorry to the Mario Sunshine fans. Now, before you get mad, this game wasn't bad per se. The music in this game was good. The vibes in this game were good. Even the levels were good in this game. But I just got really bored playing it. Playing this game for the first time, I did actually find it really fun, but when it came to 100%ing, I just got so bored. But anyway, I'm getting far ahead of myself. Let's go back to the start of the game, where we fucking crash land on this airstrip. First thoughts, this game looks really good. This is just a cutscene. Let's see how the actual game looks. What the fuck is this? You go over and talk to the NPCs to see what the problem is, but they're all being pricks to you, so you keep going down the airstrip and find a little machine on the ground. This machine is named Flood, and it's basically just a fancy hose. With Flood, you can spray water at things, and you can also hover with it. Also, Flood talks like they have a blocked nose the entire game.
Thank you for purchasing this item from Gad Science Incorporated.
But anyway, we started to clean up all the paint on the floor that apparently we did, and a big ass thing comes out of the paint. But we kill it and our first shine sprite pops out. We collect the sprite and then Mario gets fucking arrested. He goes to court and is ordered to clean up the entire island because apparently he was the one that did it. You go and clean up the paint in the town square and then another big ass thing comes out. And when you kill it, some other big ass thing comes out, but this time it has a character who looks very similar to Mario on top of it. This character fucking nabs Peach and then this absolute banger starts to play. I mean, look at me. What the fuck was I doing? But anyway, you chase him down and he paints graffiti and disappears. In this game, instead of jumping into a painting to enter the level, we just jump directly into the paint. But we jump into the paint and enter the first level of this game, Bianco Hills. This level starts off with a water side. Whee! This level is basically just a little town with a massive lake next to it. What I do really like about this game is every level follows a slight theme. Like in Mario 64, you'll be in a snow level, and then the next level you go to will be in a clock. But in Sunshine, every level is basically themed to fit in this little island. Anyway, we go towards this bridge that has some goop on it, passing by the stews! We get some love for stew in the comments. We make it to the bridge and we have to fight another fucking goop monster. But we fight the monster, collect the shine, and go to the second star of Bianco Hills. In the second star, you fight one of the new bosses of this game, Paitndt Piranha. This boss is basically just a piranha plant, except he can fly, and he also has some big ass belly button. This boss fight is honestly quite brutal. You fill Paitndt up with water until he is full of water, then he is helplessly on the floor. You ground pound his stomach and he dissolves into the ground. What's crazy about this boss fight is it isn't even the most brutal in this game. But we beat Paitndt Piranha and collect the shrine. The way the shines work in this game is very weird. Take Mario 64 for example. The way you get to the final level is by collecting 70 stars, unless you're a speedrunner. But in this game, the requirement for unlocking the last level is for collecting the 7th shine sprite in every level. But let's go to the 3rd shine in this level, where we have to go to the secret stage. These stages are like little sub areas that are challenges that you have to get through. The real challenge of these is the Mario clone takes Flood away from you. And all of these sub worlds aren't actually that hard. If I said I enjoyed playing these levels, I would be completely lying. These levels were just so hard, it's not even funny. The only reason I enjoyed these levels is because the absolute bangers that were playing in the background. Skipping through the secret stage, we can finish the rest of the shrines by killing Paitndt again and catching Shadow Mario. We can move on to the next level, Rico Harbor. This level takes place in a boat dock, hence the name. The first shrine in this level holds a boss fight against this blooper guy. Surely they can't make this violent. For some fucking reason, the way you fight this boss is you pull all its limbs off, then pull on his lips. What the fuck, Nintendo? Anyway, the second shine in this level is a lot more tame. You basically ride on top of these bloopers like surfboards, and you get to do some sick-ass race with them. Anyway, we collect the rest of the shines in this level, catch Shadow Mario, and move on to our 3rd level, Gelato. We have to fight another goof monster first. Gelato Beach! A level that takes place on a beach. Most of the shines in this level are just annoying, so we're gonna really quickly go through all 8 of them. Shine 1, you have to spray this random ass thing in the sand and a sandcastle will pop out. You go into it and complete the secret stage. Shine 2, you have to knock all these catquacks off these mirror platforms and the shine will spawn, but for some reason it's really hard to knock them off. Shine 3, there's this giant wiggler on the beach and you have to spray these purple things to knock the wiggler in the air. Shine 4, the Sandbird Shine! This shine is by far the worst shine in the entire game, with it consisting of you having to ride on this bird made out of sand, while you also collect red coins, but you dare to miss one coin, you have to restart the shrine all over again. Shine 5, In this shine, you have to race this guy called Paitndt. But this guy can cheat! He can push you out of his way! Apart from that, he's pretty easy. But I still don't trust him. Shine 6. This shine is honestly quite tame with you having to collect all the red coins in a reef. Shine 7. This is the Shadow Mario shine, and all you have to do is chase Shadow Mario and catch him. Shine 8. In this shine, you have to take the biggest watermelon to the Watermelon Festival. This sounds like it would be easy, but you have to take the watermelon from all the way up here down to here, over this pier, and bring it to the end of the pier. Also, if a Cataclack touches the watermelon, it will fling it into the air and break it. This happens so many times. But after this, we can finish Gelato Beach and move on to Peanut Park. This level is honestly super cool. The whole level is based in a theme park. In the first shine, you chase Shadow Mario to this lake, and he reveals a humongous Bowser mech, and you have to ride this roller coaster around and shoot a missile at the mech. Once you do this a couple times, Shadow Mario jumps out of the mech and reveals that it was actually BJ all this time. Wait, I shouldn't call him BJ. Honestly, the rest of the shines in this level are not really worth talking about, except Shine 6, because it has Yoshi! So yeah, apparently Yoshi's in this game, so that's quite good. Serena Beach is the next level we go to, and oh my god, this level is super chill. I mean, just look at this sunset. Isn't that beautiful? This level takes place in a hotel, which gives massive Luigi's Mansion vibes. And I mean, there are boos hanging around it, and there's a King Boo fight. This level is also based around one of the best feelings in the world: gambling! There's just a hidden casino on the underground of this hotel where you fight King Boo. You're basically on a massive roulette table with King Boo, and he'll either fling fruit or enemies at you, and you have to hope he flings a chili to you so you can force feed it to him, and his mouth catches on fire. What the f is up with this game? Anyways, moving on from this beautiful looking level, we can go to the next level, Noki Bay. This level's an odd level because it's basically just this place. I think it's a bunch of ruins, but I honestly don't know how to describe this place. The only residents of this place is a granddad, his grandson, and his grandson's wife. But most of the shines in this level are actually quite creative. Like Shine 3, where you shrink down into this glass bottle and collect all the red coins. Or Shine 4, where you have to clean this giant monster's teeth for some reason. Oh, and Paitnt's back. Pianta Village! This is the last level in the game that has more than one shine, and it kind of gives off the same vibe as Wet Dry World. This level just kind of feels like a dream. And I think that might be because on most shines, it's nighttime. In the first shine, there are these 3 chain chomps, and for some reason, you have to give them a bath. On the second shine, you have to race Paitntt! The fourth shine is similar to the first one, but instead of 3 little chain chomps you have to give a bath to, it's 1 giant one, and this is so much harder for some reason. But anyway, we catch Shadow Mario and we can make our way into the center of the island, Corona Volcano. This level is actually one of the most bullshit levels at this entire game. Basically, the level starts off with you having to jump across these platforms which have fire and spikes coming out of them. After we get past that section, we make our way over to the infamous boat section. This thing was actually one of the worst things I've ever had to do playing a video game. And that's because the way it works is you sit in the boat and you move it by spraying water in the opposite direction. This would be fine if the physics weren't actually awful. You see, for some reason the boat just sways off to the side and it can't go straight for some reason. And also, the boat is like the old Minecraft boats, because this thing is actually just made out of paper. Anyway, after spending years in the boat part, we can make our way to the rocket jump part, where we have a limited amount of water to make it up to the top of the volcano by rocket jumping to each cloud. But we finally make it to the top, where we stumble into Bowser and BJ taking a bath in the top of the volcano. This boss fight is honestly super easy. You basically have to rocket jump in the air and slam down on these 5 areas. The only challenge I would say with doing this is getting back on the bowl, because you have to jump across these falling pieces, or you could do whatever I did. But we defeat Bowser, Flood fucking dies, and BJ finds out that Peach isn't his real mother. And with that, we finally finish Super Mario Sunshine. Except we don't, because there's a bit of post-game. You see, in every level and the main hub, there are blue coins scattered about the place, and if you collect 10 of them, you can trade it into this guy to get a shine. But after finding all the blue coins by myself, and not using IGN, we can finish Super Mario Sunshine. 7 out of 10. Look guys, it's new! This joke has not been made before. This game was Nintendo's way of trying to revive the 2D Mario genre by making one of the best 2D Mario games. This game introduces 3 new power-ups to the Mario franchise. Of course, we have the Mushroom and the Fire Flower, but we now also have the Mini Mushroom, Mega Mushroom, and Blue Shell. The Mini Mushroom and Mega Mushroom are obviously self-explanatory. One makes you big and one makes you mini. But the Blue Shell is kind of unique. When you start to run really fast, you'll fold into a shell and start speeding along the level. All you can do when in the shell is jump, and that is it. Honestly, I found this power-up pretty useless, but apparently speedrunners didn't. Basically, the game starts out with Peach's castle getting blown up, so Mario goes to check it out, and while that's happening, BJ is back and he steals Peach. We chase after him and enter World 1. This game goes back to the roots of each world having its own theme, and I'm gonna list all 8 right now. World 1 is just a plains world. World 2 is a sand world. World 3 is a beach world. World 4 is a jungle world. World 5 is a snow world. World 6 is a mountain world. World 7 is a cloud world. World 8 is a volcano world. Jesus, that took a lot of takes. This game also introduced the idea of having collectibles in every level. This makes it so much easier to 100%. And no, I'm not going to be rating them. In World 1, one tower has the best star coins and 1A had the worst. There, are you happy? Anyway, in one tower we actually face off with our first boss, BJ. There's honestly no challenge to this boss. You jump on his head and then he hides in his shell. Do this 3 times and he dies. Literally just every other Mario boss. We can make it through the world and end up at the final castle. Can I just say that this game has one of the best castle themes out of all the games? The boss fights in this game are mostly quite unique. Like in the first world, the fight is against Bowser, and it's like a throwback to the first game. Or take World 4's fight, where you fight a Goomba that's enlarged in size. When you defeat Bowser, you can make your way over to World 2. When I was a child, anytime I was in this world, for some reason my DS would get really hot. And for some reason I thought that was a fucking feature because you were in a desert. This time I was playing on an emulator, so my PC set on fire. Can I just say that 2-3 is probably my favourite level out of any Mario game. This level takes place in the sewers for some reason. The level honestly feels more like a Zelda dungeon than a Mario level. The level is basically this massive maze with loads of different paths and switches that raise the water. Once we beat this level, we move on to the tower of this world, where the mini boss is BJ. Wait, every tower boss in this game is just BJ. But anyway, let's just skip past that monstrosity and make it to the final castle of this world. The boss in this world is like a pokey, but he looks like a mummy. The way you fight him is very simple. You jump in his head and he'll go underground. Do this 3 times and he'll die. Anyway, I'm just going to really quickly explain every world's boss. World 3's boss is this cool ass fish guy. Jump in his head 3 times and he dies. World 4's boss is this big ass Goomba I was talking about. World 5's boss is Petey Piranha. World 6's boss is this Monty Mole in a tank, and every time you hit him his tank evolves to become bigger. Now let's take a break in World 7, the Cloud World. In the rest of the games, I want to rate the song that plays when you're in the Cloud World, so let's give this one a little listen. 7 out of 10. But we pass through the final boss of this world and make it to the final boss. This boss is like a dry bones version of Bowser, and it's very similar to the first one. It's basically the same fight, except you can't damage him with a fire flower anymore. Honestly, I'm kind of happy I'm done with this game, because it started to get kind of bland near the end, and why is BJR running off with Peach? Oh my god, there are so many more levels. So yeah, apparently those weren't the last levels, and we have like 6 more levels to beat. These levels aren't bad levels, it's just the Nintendo edged me into thinking we were done. Anyways, we can fly through these levels and make it to the actual final level, where we can beat the actual final boss. This castle actually has an insanely cool concept. Basically, there are these yellow switches that are all over the stage, and when you hit one, it will flip the stage upside down. None of the enemies move as well, meaning that this leads to some really creative puzzles. But after completing the main castle, we can move on to the final boss battle of the game. This boss battle is honestly the lamest final boss in the entire franchise. You see, it's basically the same as every other Bowser fight, except BJ is there, but he adds virtually nothing. And you might be saying, oh, but Magic, what about Bowser in the first game? Yeah, that game had a standard. This game had some really cool and creative bosses, and they've just thrown it all out the window with the final boss. Honestly, this boss fight was just a bit of a letdown for me, so this game gets 6 out of 10. 6. Fun fact about me, I've actually never played Mario Galaxy before, so let's see how good it is. This game is honestly one of the best games I've ever played. This game is actually so beautiful. Like, I mean, just look at this. The game starts off with telling us an event's happening called the Star Festival. This is held to celebrate a comet that appears in the skies every 100 years. We see Mario running towards the castle when all of a sudden Bowser starts to destroy fucking everything. He announces that he's gonna create a whole ass galaxy, and then he fucking nabs the castle and takes it up into space. Mario gets flung away by Kamek and the castle just disappears. We wake up on this little planet with a Luma waking us up. The Luma turns into a bunny and we have to chase him and his 2 friends. We catch them all and then a platform in the middle of the planet appears. On the planet there's a goddess called Rosalina and she grants you with the ability to spin. She summons this launch star and then she disappears. Then you take the launch star to a tutorial of sorts. On the first planet you land on, you have to collect these 5 shards to proceed into the next planet, and on this planet one of the Goombas holds a key to free this Luma so the Luma can die and you can proceed to the next planet where you do the same thing except the Goomba is massive. Once you collect this key you go down this pipe and find a Grand Star. These Grand Stars are the main goal of this game, is you have to collect all 7 to unlock the final level. You fly back with the Grand Star and you land in a place called the Comet Observatory. This is basically the hub world of the game, and oh my god, I think this is the best hub world out of any game. I really don't know how to explain it, but the hub is just so good. You could probably go find a documentary on the hub alone. The hub has these little rooms, and these act as gateways to go to a couple different galaxies. Each room is a different assortment of galaxies, but let's go over to the first one. Good Egg Galaxy. Go them all, go them all. Yoshi! Does Yoshi exist in this game? Where's Yoshi? The whole galaxy is themed around him, so surely he'll appear. Oh, maybe later in the game. This galaxy is also served as a tutorial kind of place, so the galaxy is very simple. This level feels like a massive opening, setting the standard of this game. And let me tell you, this standard is never broken. In the first star, you fly between these planets and unlocking your path by doing puzzly things on each one. You make it to the final planet where you slam in an egg and unleash a boss who looks like Petey Piranha, but I don't think it is. The way you fight him is by spinning his tail and slamming it into his face. If you think about it, it's pretty morbid. You break this baby out of his egg, and with him being scared and confused, he starts to run about the place, and you fucking kill him for doing what? Nothing? But after we kill him, we can grab a star and make our way back to the observatory. Basically, the lore is we have to collect these stars so we can power up the observatory and reach further out to more galaxies. The second star in this level consists of you collecting enough star bits to feed this Luma, and he'll fucking turn into a planet. You fly into this clear tube and we can collect the star. After collecting the last star in this galaxy, we can go over to our next galaxy named Honey Hive Galaxy. You probably guessed from the name, but this whole galaxy is based around honey. This galaxy also honestly has the best music in this entire game. It's just so jazzy. This level also introduces a new power-up, the bee mushroom. The power-up basically turns Mario into a bee, hence the name. With this power-up you can fly. Not very well, but you can still fly for a bit. The power-up also comes with a bunch of other smaller features, like the ability to climb honey, or the ability to stand on flowers, because if you try standing on a flower without the power-up, the flower just disappears. But you dare try touch water, and the power-up gets removed. In the first star, you have to make your way over to this queen bee, where you have to climb all over and remove her itch. What the f***, Nintendo? After this galaxy, we unlock one of these question mark block galaxies. These galaxies are always really short, usually basing around 1 star. In this first question mark, it's a galaxy called Loop-de-Loop Galaxy. This galaxy is basically just a massive water racetrack where you ride on this man ray. Man ray? Let me tell you, this is one of the most stressful things I've ever done. So what you do is you hold the Wii remote vertical, and the way you move left and right is by tilting the Wii remote. Honestly, I can't even describe how hard it is. Just look at me. But after stressing out about this level, we can move on to our first boss stage. Now, these stages are kind of like the question mark block galaxies, where they only have 1 star, except these ones are evil. Each of these galaxies are centered around a certain boss, and by killing this boss, you'll get a grand star. The first boss we have to fight is a robot called Mega Leg. Basically, you have to climb up Mega Leg's leg and blow up the cage in the middle with his own bullet bills. We blow up the middle and collect our second grand star. When we get back to the hub, Rosalina tells us that there's another room unlocked, allowing us to go to more galaxies. And one of these galaxies is a little galaxy called Rolling Green Galaxy. In this galaxy, you have to stand on top of this ball and roll it to the end of the level. Sounds simple, right? You're wrong! The controls are very easy to understand. You tilt the controller in the way you want to go, and the more you tilt it, the faster you go. You have to be so steady when controlling the ball, because you don't know how many times I flew off the edge. But after a couple deaths, we can make it to our first real galaxy, Space Junk Galaxy. This galaxy is basically just a bunch of asteroid parts and junk. Of course, what? The first basically themes around these things called pull stars. You point the cursor at them and click to pull Mario closer to them. They were actually a really cool concept, except I don't like them. I mean, I like the concept and stuff, it's just I'm bad at them, so I don't like them. You have to navigate across all these pull stars and get to the end section, where there are these weird platforms that don't appear until you walk close to them. You collect these 5 silver stars and then the golden star spawns. The next galaxy is a galaxy called Battle Rock Galaxy. This galaxy is basically just a massive space station that has been situated inside a massive rock. Honestly, I like the idea of this galaxy, it's just I got a bit bored playing through it. But we collect all the stars in this level and go to our second boss stage, Bowser's Star Reactor. All the Bowser stages in this game are themed around the Mario 64 Bowser stages. Like, even listen to the music. It's a remix of the Mario 64 theme. We can run through this level with it doing a lot of weird stuff with gravity. This really confused me, and we can make our way over to these green and white tiles. When we start to run up them, Bowser appears and he starts to destroy these platforms while you have to try not to fall. You can keep making your way up to Bowser, where you can start the fight with him. In this fight, Bowser will jump up and down, causing lasers to go around the planet, and then he'll jump in the air and do whatever that says at you, and you have to guide him over to these blue spots where he'll uncover the lava and light his ass on fire. You go up and spin, then he'll get stuck in his back, and then you have to spin again. You do this another 2 times, and then he just disappears. And a grand star spawns. The next set of galaxies we unlock are probably some of my favourite in the entire game. First of these galaxies we go to is a galaxy called Beach Bowl Galaxy. This galaxy is basically just a massive beach that is inhabited by penguins. Wait, these penguins kinda look familiar. Basically, the whole time there's this teacher that teaches these penguins something. It's never really specified what the penguin is teaching, but he's teaching something. The planet gets really good when we hit the second star though. In this star, you have to go to this fortress kind of thing that's just in the sky, and it's wrapped around a whirlpool of water. You have to dodge all these womps and these things called toy boxes, and you have to make it to the other side. But we collect the star after no deaths, and make our way over to the next galaxy. This galaxy, Bubble Breeze Galaxy, is one of those galaxies where it only has 1 star. The concept of this galaxy is honestly really cool and a bit underappreciated. You basically enter this bubble and you have to blow the bubble with the cursor in the right way. This level is honestly really cool, and you'd think they could mess up when making the level. But it's the right amount of difficulty, the right length, and the right amount of blowing. As long as Nintendo doesn't make a level that's 100 times harder and has so much worse gameplay, but I know they wouldn't do that. We collect the star and make our way over to the next galaxy, Boy Base Galaxy. If I had to show somebody who's never played Mario Galaxy before one galaxy in this game, I'd pick this one, because because this galaxy literally gives me chills. From the music to the overall vibes of this place, it's actually just amazing. This is also one of those 1-star galaxies, but I think this one's the best in the game. I honestly never appreciated this galaxy as much until somebody called NateFH made a level in Geometry Dash in a collab with a bunch of other creators. Never mind, I hate this galaxy now. Anyway, the next galaxy. Ghostly Galaxy. Honestly, I can't really remember this galaxy that much, except Mario can turn into a boat, and is that Luigi? Yeah, this is the first time Luigi's actually appeared in a 3D Mario game. Basically, what Luigi does is he'll try go find stars for you. And I say try because randomly, this Toad will give you a message that will be like, yo, Mario, I'm stuck. Help me. Please, thanks. And then what you have to do is you have to go save him. But anyway, what's the next? This level basically consists of you going on different airships and making your way closer to BJ. When you eventually get to BJ, you encounter one of the best boss fights in the entire game. Basically, BJ is on this other airship, and he shoots these different types of missiles at you, and the way you attack back is by picking up these shells and chucking them at BJ. Honestly, I don't know why I love this boss fight so much, but it's just really well done. Halfway through the fight, this magic Koopa also spawns getting in your way, and before you can hit the ship, you should probably deal with it first. And then once you hit the ship enough times, it turns to face you, where the Bowser head can start shooting these flaming fireballs, which fly faster and are harder to dodge. Also, with him facing forward, he is thinner and harder to hit with the shells. But we hit him a couple more times, and we collect the Grand Star. With this, we go to another set of galaxies, and go to our first galaxy, Gusty Garden Galaxy. This galaxy is probably the most recognizable galaxy out of this entire game. Honestly, it's probably the fact that Nintendo milked the music for this level so many times. Honestly, didn't see anything really special with this galaxy. It's basically just a bunch of mini planets. But while we're on the topic of iconic galaxies, let's go over to Freeze Flame Galaxy. This galaxy is obviously based around fire and ice. You start off in a little donut made out of ice with these two boulders rolling around the rim. You chase this penguin, then he spawns a launch star, and you fly over to this big ass mountain. This stage introduces 2 new power-ups to the game. We have the classic Fire Flower, except in this game the Fire Flower runs on a timer, so you actually have a very small time to use it. Then we have the polar opposite of the Fire Flower, the Ice Flower. The Fire Flower in this game worked completely different to how it does in later games. We'll get on to that. Basically, it will turn Mario into ice, and this allows him to ice skate anywhere and also walk on water. You can also wall jump up waterfalls, which is pretty cool. Basically, in the first star, you have to scale the mountain with the Ice Flower, jumping on these water shooty things and making your way to the boss of the galaxy, Baron Burr? Burr. This boss is honestly just like any other boss. You run over here to the left to grab an Ice Flower so you can basically get to the middle platform where he is. He basically slams down, and when he does, you have a chance to spin all his ice away. Do this 3 times, and then he dies! In the second star of this galaxy, you go to this lava-looking planet where you have to use the Fire Flower to light these torches. I really do like how this galaxy feels like 2 different galaxies, except in later stars they're actually mixed together. Dusty Dune Galaxy is the next galaxy, and it's a sand level. We all saw it coming! It has these cool tornado guys, where if you go inside one, it'll launch you into the air where Mario turns into a helicopter. Not much else to say about this level, I just like the tornado guys. Right, the Bowser stage. This stage basically does everything with gravity. Every 5 seconds of this level, I was switching gravity. I honestly love this section of the level where you have to keep moving around this plus shaped block so you don't fall off into the matter. There are also these holes that don't move with the platforms. It's honestly quite trippy. The fight with Bowser is basically the exact same as the first one. He jumps, burns his ass, then he dies. We collect the Grand Star, and once again we can move over to our next set of galaxies. I honestly don't have a lot to say about these galaxies. Like, I mean, just look at Gold Leaf Galaxy. It's literally just Honey Hive Galaxy, except they made it brown and turned it 180 degrees. There is one galaxy I want to talk about though, and that is Toy Time Galaxy. This galaxy introduces one of the worst power-ups ever. It's a little power-up called the Spring Mushroom. The Spring power-up is a power-up that basically puts Mario in a spring. When you have this power-up, you can't stop jumping all over the place. And you're probably thinking, why the hell would you pick it up? You can bounce really high. This power-up is basically essential to beating some of the stars in this galaxy. The controls are honestly so slippy. Like, I can't even count the amount of times I went flying off the edge because I accidentally moved left. In the first star, even though we have to use the spring mushroom, is honestly a really cool star. You basically have to scale this massive robot and disassemble it. You fucking blow the whole thing up and collect the star. We can basically collect the rest of the stars in this level and the other levels and make our way over to the final Bowser stage. In this stage, you have to refight a boss that appeared earlier in the game, whose name is King Caliente. This boss shoots fireballs at you, but sometimes he'll shoot coconuts at you, and with those coconuts, you can basically play tennis with him until he gets hit. Obviously, again, we do this 3 times, then he dies. We can collect the Grand Star and move on to our final set of galaxies. Some of these galaxies are honestly quite cool, except Snowcap Galaxy. Oh my god, I hate this galaxy. This galaxy is one of those mini galaxies that usually have 1 star. You basically have this planet that looks like a pill, and you have to catch these 3 bunnies within the time limit. You get access to a fire flower to make finding the bunnies easier, and you can also swipe the snow away with your cursor, but oh my god, it's honestly really annoying finding them. They can basically be hiding anywhere in the snow, and even when you do uncover where they are hiding, they'll start running so fast, and the fact that you walk slower in the snow as well makes this really hard. But I mean, if you play through it once, you'll kind of remember where the bunnies are, and you can do it a lot faster the second time. There are 3 other galaxies here. One of them called Matter Splatter Galaxy, where it's basically based around this 1 star and these disappearing platforms. Another being called Deep Dark Galaxy, where you're on this beach thing and you have to go exploring in this massive water cave. And Thraddoc Galaxy, which is such a cool galaxy. In this galaxy, it feels like you're raiding this massive space station. You go to these different places inside and outside the space station, and you do little puzzles to get closer to the star. But we collect all the stars in this level and make our way over to Melty Molten Galaxy. In this galaxy, you fight the boss from the first star again, except this time he's even more pissed and made out of fire. Sometimes his tail will light on fire, and if you try spin it, you'll get hurt. But we defeat him after 3 hits! And then we can move on to our final stage. This galaxy is at the center of the universe, where Bowser has been cooking up his own galaxy. This galaxy feels very similar to the last level in Mario 64. You start in this little castle looking bit, where the way you navigate is by jumping onto these beams that change your gravity. You take this beam to the lava planet, where you have to navigate across these falling platforms to get to this beam. The next planet is the complete opposite of that planet, as it is made fully out of ice, and with these ice platforms that appear when you walk near them. And then after that planet, there's another one. This level is so long, there's still 3 more planets to go. This planet is completely made out of quicksand, and you have to make it over some spinning platforms! The next planet is like the ice planet, except it's a 2D section, and there's a lot of gravity switching. We can get over to the beam and make our way over to the final section, which is like this massive cylinder with a bunch of hazards in the way. Honestly, this might be one of the best sections in the entire game. I just really like this part. We can run through this, dodging all the bullet bills and thwomps, and make our way up to Bowser. This Bowser fight is like the other 2, except they actually changed it and made it interesting. Its first phase consists of Bowser turning himself into a rock, and you have to spin at the right moment to knock him out of the rock. You do this 1 more time and he'll take you to another planet. On this planet, he'll go into his own shell, and the way you get him out is by spinning these green bayoyoing things. You obviously do this once more and he'll take you inside the fucking sun, where you go to the 3rd and final planet. On this planet, it's very similar to the other 2 fights. He jumps up, burns his ass, and you have to spin at him. You spin him a final time, and you throw him into the sun, collecting the final Grand Star. And with that, we have beat. You know there's post-game content. I don't know why I'm doing this. Basically, every level that has more than 2 stars has a new star where you have to collect 100 purple coins lying around the level. Most of these are such a nice and chill way to end the game, with most not really needing any brain power. Except some of these stars are really annoying. I'm looking at you, Ghostly Galaxy, with your stupid timer. But we can collect all these stars without a lot of hassle, and we can beat the final level again. We fling Bowser into the sun again, we watch the credits roll, and we can finally beat Super Mario Galaxy.
Super Luigi Galaxy!
What the fuck? So yeah, apparently to get true 100%, you have to play this whole game again as Luigi. Every star we found hard, we'd have to do again. Every star we found tedious, we'd have to do again. And for what? Some extra brownie points. The thing is, Luigi also doesn't play the same as Mario. Yes, he can jump higher and stuff, but it also feels like he's on ice the entire time. I'm not going to talk about my playthrough as Luigi, because it's literally the same as Mario's, except I'm a gamer and did it in less deaths. But with Luigi, we can beat the final level for the 4th time, and we unlock one final level. This level isn't really a level, and it's more just a nice send-off to the game. You're basically back in the Mushroom Kingdom, and you have to collect 100 purple coins, but it's literally impossible to miss any of them as they're literally right in front of your face. We can beat this level as Mario and Luigi to get a couple of screenshots. You're telling me I beat this whole game twice for a couple screenshots? They are cute screenshots though. Anyways, this game is actually just one of the best experiences, if not the best experience I've had playing a video game. From the music to the story, this game is genuinely so good. I highly recommend it. And that's why I'm giving it a 9.8 out of 10. You know what? I kinda like how they made another new Soup game, except it's on the console, and it supports multiplayer, and is that... Yoshi? This game adds 3 new power-ups. The Ice Flower. This power-up works nothing like the one in Galaxy. It's like the Fire Flower, except it makes Mario's suit blue, and instead of shooting fireballs, you shoot ice balls. And instead of one-tapping every enemy, you turn them into ice cubes, and you can pick them up or use them as a platform. The next power-up they added was the Penguin suit. I love this suit! Look how it turns Mario into a little penguin! The power-up basically works the same as the ice suit, except he can walk on ice without slipping, and he can also belly slide. Look at him go! The final power-up they added is the propeller suit, and this power-up is huge. This suit basically lets Mario fly. When you shake the controller, Mario spins really fast, and you get a lot of vertical momentum. This game started the trend of every Mario game having one power-up that's clearly better than the rest, and you'll never use any other power-up rather than this one, except maybe for boss fights. Talking about boss fights, Nintendo thought that the first game had too many unique boss fights, so they thought, why not bring back the Koopalings? I'm getting really sick of these guys. I genuinely don't have a lot to say about this game because it's just another new Soup game. The only thing I will talk about is the final boss. You reach the end of the final castle of World 8 and you start going down this hallway to reach Bowser. Honestly, this boss fight is kind of boring. It's basically the same as the DS game with you just clicking a button and oh my god, it's fucking huge. Basically, this is like a chase sequence where you have to run through a part made of breakable blocks while Bowser shoots fireballs at you. What I really like is the fireballs he shoots actually help you by making new paths for you to go on. But you reach the end, click the button, kill Bowser, and save Peach. And as you guessed, this game has a bit of post-game content. This one isn't really bad though. If you collect all 3 star coins in every level, you'll unlock 8 challenge levels. Ooh! I'm really downplaying these levels, but some of them were really hard. This level is actually just stupid. This level, 9-7, is the hardest level we have played so far, or it might even be the hardest level of every game, because this level is stupidly hard. Basically, the whole gimmick is you're on these ice blocks, and there are fire-spitting piranha plants that melt the ice blocks beneath your feet. Beating this level is honestly not that bad. You just have to full sprint through the entire level and get to the end. But we don't just want to beat the level. We want all the star coins. Star coin 1 is really easy. You just have to wall jump up this pipe and grab it. Star coin 2 consists of you waiting for these piranha plants to melt the ice blocks underneath your feet so you can grab the star. But it's really hard because the piranha plants will sometimes melt too many ice blocks and you'll not have enough of a platform to land on. The 3rd star coin is probably the worst out of any level. It's basically the same as the 2nd coin, except instead of fire piranha plants shooting out the ice blocks, it's now Fire Bros, and their shots are sporadic. And there isn't a little platform underneath the coin, but instead there are 2 walls you have to wall jump between. But we can beat this game after an hour and beat the rest of the game. Oh, and I nearly forgot. Let's rate the Cloud World music. Honestly, this music is really chill, and I actually think it might be better than the DS version. So, 8 out of 10? Honestly, I thought I'd really enjoy playing through this game because of nostalgia reasons, but I just didn't. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game, so I might give this game a 6. 6 out of 10. Honestly, this game was just a bit of a letdown after Super Mario Galaxy. I really wish Nintendo would make another game like Mario Galaxy. Holy shit, what the fuck is that? They made another Galaxy! Nintendo had so many ideas they couldn't put into the first game because of time constraints, so they made a whole other game for it. This game was actually supposed to be DLC for the first game, but they added so many features that were just like, fuck it, let's make another game. Basically, the story for this game is like a retelling of Mario Galaxy, except they'd left out a lot of details. The thing I noticed about this game is the vibes are the polar opposite to the last game. The last game tried to go for a mystical sense of wonder, like you're exploring these unexplored galaxies. In this game, it feels like you're going on this upbeat adventure with these wacky characters. The game starts off with Mario getting invited to the castle where Peach has baked a cake for him. Sounds similar, doesn't it? We start off basically right away with Mario in this 2D section. We start to run towards the castle until we stumble upon this Luma. Obviously, because we played the first game, you know the Luma grants Mario with the ability to spin. You make it to the castle and find out that Bowser is huge, again, and is taking Peach. For some reason, Bowser can fly now, and he just flies off to God knows where. You go and talk to these two Lumas, and one of them turns into a launch star. This game just literally flings you right into the first level without much tutorial, and I love it. The first planet you land on kind of acts like a tutorial in a way, but it's really smart the way they did it. The way you're supposed to go is down this pipe to the other side of the galaxy so you can break this crystal and fly all the way through the planet. But if you played the first game and you're a gamer, you'll know you can just wall jump off this wall and spin to get on top of the building faster. Once you're here, you can take a launch star to go to this slightly curved galaxy. You follow this Luma along the planet, avoiding all the Optumba? Nintendo are getting really creative with these names. You follow this Luma until you reach a checkpoint? What? So you may realize that this game's galaxies feel a lot more linear to the last games. These levels also usually have less stars, where in the first game, every level averaged around 6-ish. In this game, every level averaged around 2 to 3. But we take this launch star and go to these extremely small planets, then take the launch star on that and go to this very cylindrical planet with these moving platforms and... oh. What's this? So in this game, there are basically these extra collectibles called comet medals. Basically, they spawn in the first star of every level, and when you collect it, it unlocks the third star. Most of these star medals are honestly quite easy to get. Some of them are quite hard though. We fly over to this other planet with a checkpoint, then fly over to this planet with a very similar looking egg. This is basically the same boss as the first boss in the first game, except they made the boss even younger. Nintendo, what is your problem with making me kill innocent babies? The boss does work differently with you having to break its egg and spin its ass. We do this one more time and kill the child. Thanks, Nintendo. We can collect the star and fly back to the Comet Observatory. This isn't the Comet Observatory. So because this is a new game, there has to be a new hub. And the hub for this game is a little planet with this fat ass Luma on it called Lava. Wait, he wears pants. Does that mean... what the hell? He basically explains that he and a couple Lumas turned this little planet into a spaceship. He says he could turn the spaceship into Mario's for a little bit, but instead of, you know, making it look like a normal spaceship, maybe even painting it red, no, he fucking turns it into Mario's head. It's honestly a really cool hub, and I don't see enough love for it. But we can step in this button, and then the ship takes off. Basically, in this game, instead of having different domes that you can run to with different sets of galaxies, it's more like a world map. We've unlocked the second level, but first I want to go back and get the second star in the first level. At around this point in the video, I discovered a method to make beating these games so much more efficient and easy. Basically, I'll do literally everything I can in the level I'm on before I move on to the next one. So we can do this for the first galaxy, and we can move on to Yoshi Star Galaxy. Look, Nintendo, you're not going to trick me again. The first game had a Yoshi-themed planet. He wasn't here. This time it's a Yoshi theme. Oh my god, it's Yoshi! One of the main features they couldn't add to the first Galaxy game was actually Yoshi. So they decided to make him the main selling point of this game. Let's go! Honestly, I think this game has one of the best Yoshi physics out of all the 3D games he's in. He has his basic flutter jump, and you can jump off him, launching him into a pit. But the way his tongue works is honestly kind of cool. You can basically use the cursor to point where your tongue goes, and then you can click the back B button to lick things. Because Yoshi's tongue works this way, it can bend in about any direction, which can lead to some very buggy things happening. Like, what is going on? The level we're on also has these freaky ass enemies that start to make out with Yoshi. What the hell? We can get the first star and then make our way over to the second star where we face off against our second boss. This boss looks very similar to that one boss we fought in Super Mario Bros DS, and he also works basically the exact same. I've actually just searched it up, and they're actually two completely different people. The one in New Soup is called Lackey Thunder, and then the one in this game is called King Lakitu. See? Very different people. We can defeat him and move over to our next level, Flip Swap Galaxy. This game brought back the galaxies from the first game that usually only have 1 star, and Flip Swap is one of those. This galaxy introduces these red and blue platforms, and every time you spin, the platforms swap around, hence the name. These platforms appear in nearly every other 3D Mario game after this, so good feature. Paitndt Galaxy is a galaxy that revolves around a new power-up that was added to the game. Ooh! This power-up is basically just a drill, and it lets you dig through planets of dirt and make your way to the other side. This power-up can lead to some very creative puzzles and some very creative bosses. When we fly back from this galaxy, we can see that the room inside Mario's hat is actually a museum kind of thing, and you can view all the power-ups you've collected. This is actually a really good way to keep track of all the power-ups you've seen. And it doesn't just do it for power-ups as well. The next galaxy is called Right Side Down Galaxy, and this galaxy is very similar to Toy Time Galaxy in the first game. This galaxy is basically just a massive 2D section that does some weird things with gravity. Fluff Bluff Galaxy is the next galaxy, and in this galaxy they introduce a new power-up called the Cloud Flower. This power-up basically lets you place platforms beneath your feet, and it also makes you float air. And similar to the bee mushroom, we lose if we touch water. This power-up is probably one of the most useful power-ups in this game. Bit of fall in a pit, make a cloud. The only downfall with this power-up is you only have 3 clouds to place before you have to go refill. Using the Cloud Flower, we can complete this level and move on to the final level in this world, Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Fortilla. We can play through this level and make it to the boss of this world, which is the fucking Mario Kart track. The dragon flies around this planet, and he has these red bulbs that you have to hit. He'll sometimes fly down at you and dig through the planet, making it easier to hit the bulbs. But you hit all 6 bulbs, collect the Grand Star, and can make our way over to World 2. The first level doesn't really have a lot, except it has some insane music. But the second level revolves around Yoshi. The level basically introduces these fruits that Yoshi can eat, giving him different abilities based on the one he eats. In this level, there are these chili peppers that when you eat them, Yoshi starts to run really fast. So fast even that he can just run up walls for some reason, and that's what this whole galaxy is based around. It's honestly really fun to play until the last little section, because for some reason this part was kind of hard. The next galaxy, Boulder Bowl Galaxy, also introduces a new power-up, and this power-up turns Mario into a rock. I mean, this rock is very useful as it's so big it can basically smash through a lot of things. Good job, Nintendo. You could take a straw. There's a really cool boss fight with this guy who looks like a massive armadillo, and he's very cute. Honeybloom Galaxy is the next galaxy on the list, and this galaxy brings back the bee mushroom and all the little bees. This level feels like a very cool 2D version of Honey Hive Galaxy. Also, for some reason, they decided to take the song they used in the first game, except they added more instruments and made it so jazzy. We can get both the stars in this level and make our way over to Wild Glide Galaxy. This galaxy basically themes around one whole mechanic, and that mechanic is Fluzzard. He basically works like Fortnite, where why did I just reference Fortnite? You tell the controller to control the pitch and yaw, which also controls the speed you go at. We can skip through Cosmic Cove Galaxy, as there isn't really anything to say about this galaxy, except Funny Tank Guy, and we can move on to the final level of World 2. Bowser's Big Lava Power Party. For some reason, Mario Galaxy 2 has a lot of references back to Mario 64, and this level really emphasizes that fact. Womps return in this game, and they look a lot better than they did in 64. This level is honestly really short, and the only notable thing are the Womps, because I nearly tried jumping through them like Mario 64. I also killed this guy by mistake and needed him to collect this Comet Medal, but because I'm a gamer, I got it without the Womp. We can hit this weird golden mini planet thing into these locks on the gate and make our way over to Bowser. In this fight, Bowser is still huge, and he can fly for some reason. He can shoot meteors down at us, and he starts to chase us with his fist. He'll punch the planet with his fist, which reveal these golden balls, and we have to hit them into them. Do this 3 times, and he'll lose the Grand Star, which makes him small, and we can take it back to the starship. We can go to World 3, where we go straight into the first level, Tall Trunk Galaxy. Both of the stars in this galaxy are very different to each other. In the first star, you have to use a new fruit for Yoshi to eat. Let's see what it does. Okay, who keeps hiring Pyro? You basically use this fruit to rise up a bunch of different areas and eventually reach the star. In the second star, you basically just have this extremely long slide and you gotta slide down it. This star is probably one of the most memorable in the entire game. Well, to me anyway. But we can go to the next galaxy, named Cloud Court Galaxy. This galaxy mainly revolves around using the Cloud Flower. There's not a lot to talk about. in this galaxy. The only reason I'm talking about it is because it's the closest we have to a cloud level in this game. So, let's rate the music. This track is basically just a better version of Gusty Garden Galaxy. This song might be the best in the game, and I know I've said that about every song so far, but am I wrong? This song's a really good theme, but I don't think it's a really good cloud theme. So as a theme in general, it gets an 8, but as a cloud theme, probably a 3. We can collect the star, get back to the ship, and Luigi? We unlock Luigi in this level, and he works way differently to the first game. So instead of him collecting a couple stars, then you have to go play through the whole game as him. You unlock him halfway through the game, and he'll appear sometimes at the starter levels, and you get the option to play as him. This made me so happy, as it means I don't have to play through this game twice like the first game. Oh my god. We can skip past Haunted Halls Galaxy as it's just a generic Boo level and make our way over to Freeze Flight Galaxy. This level is such a chill galaxy. I mean, I genuinely thought this music was from Animal Crossing, but it's from this game. You start on this little planet that brings back the Fire Flower and has this little house on it. Use the Fire Flower to break this snow Goomba and reveal the launch star over to the main planet. On this planet, you have to use this Fire Flower to break this massive Bowser snow statue to reveal a slide. You go through this pipe and make your way over to the lava section that has this massive Bowser statue in the middle. You have to make your way around and grab this Fire Flower to break the Bowser statue and get the star. I just really want to live in this galaxy. It's just too chill. Rolling Masterpiece Galaxy has the return of this stupid ass ball from the first game. To be fair, they did actually do quite a lot of the ball in this game. Like, there's a boss fight and everything. It's still annoying though. With us beating that level, we can make our way over to Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet. The level isn't that special. You just have to use Yoshi to blow up these cages, but the boss fight is kind of interesting. Basically, the boss has these 3 blue circle things, 2 in the front, 1 in the back, and you have to use these bullet bills to break all the circles. After you destroy every circle, BJ will open the hatch up sometimes, and you can shoot a bomb at him and collect the Grand Star. Right, now World 4. This world has some very cool galaxies, like super massive galaxy. This galaxy is just like the name says, everything is just huge, and I really like that. It feels like Tiny Huge Island from Mario 64, and this is a concept that Nintendo doesn't ever get rid of. There ain't much to say about this galaxy except it's cool. Blipso Galaxy is a very cool galaxy. It basically revolves around these great things, and when you ground pound one, you flip to the other side of the platform. This mechanic leads to some very cool puzzles, with you having to figure out which side to be on at that moment. It also has these funny little guys, and the queen of these guys. Oh my lord. The boss of this level is a massive queen, and you have to lure her on top of these grates, and you have to ground pound the other side. But we kill her, collect the star, and move on to our next level. Starshine Beach Galaxy is another one of those really oddly chill galaxies. The level is basically just this beach next to an ocean thing, except it's not really an ocean, it's just a little lake floating in space. Again, there isn't really a lot to talk about this galaxy, I just really like this galaxy. The next galaxy, named Chompworks Galaxy, is a galaxy that themes around these chain chomp ball things, and you have to guide them into these holes. Some of them consist of you pushing a button, and others require you to spin at the right time to flip these platforms and let the chomps get to the hole. Really thrilling gameplay. In the second star, it sees the return of the... No, get that thing away from me. Apparently the spring mushroom is in this game. I thought we were going to be let away with it. Luckily, the spring mushroom does only appear on this star, so we've been let off. We can move on to our second Bowser stage, Bowser's Gravity Gauntlet. At the time when playing this stage, I was just so confused because the gravity was always switching. Like, look at this! We can get through this level and get to the boss fight, which is basically the exact same as the last one, except these meteors have lasers now. We can collect the Grand Star and move on to World 5. The galaxies in World 5 aren't the most interesting, so we're going to do a speedrun of this world. In Space Storm Galaxy, we climb this base and collect the star. In Fleet Glide Galaxy, we fly this f***ass bird again. It's Upside Dizzy Galaxy, the gravity is always flipping, and we meet up with this f***er again. Boo Moon Galaxy is like a mini reference to Mario World Boo Houses. Also, it does this weird flippy thing with the poison. Also, we get the Boo Mushroom in this galaxy, which means we've unlocked every power-up. Rip Ice Flower. In Slip Sand Galaxy, we can slide down this humongous slide of these rocks rolling down, and we can fight this goofy-ass boss. Shiverburn Galaxy is a galaxy themed around ice and lava, and we can fight this guy in a tank. And finally, we can go to Bowser Jr.'s Boom Bunker, where we fight Bowser Jr. in a new machine, and we have to use the Cloud Flower to make our way up to him. Oh my god, I did that in one take. In World 6, we can go to our first level, Melty Monster Galaxy. In this galaxy, you have to use these pool stars to dodge these Magmas and Magmars. The last planet you go to is really cool. It's basically a massive lava planet with these guys circling the planet, eating these round platforms you have to jump on. Very weird. Now, the next planet I talk about may be one of the best planets out of any Mario game, so brace yourselves. Slimy Spring Galaxy is a planet that takes place in a massive cave. You basically start on this little platform looking over this cave. I actually can't explain how massive this cave is compared to the rest of the level. We can walk forward after killing a couple bats and slide down this slide, which leads us to some water. We can pick up this shell to make the swimming a tiny bit more bearable. We can go through this water cave, dodging all these seaweed looking enemies, and make it to this ramp where a bunch of urchins start to roll down at you. We can break this brick wall and start to go down here, which has a launch star right at the end. Once we land, we can jump down this tower and start swimming through these rings to give ourselves a speed boost. We eventually get to this ramp. There's a bunch of sea urchins rolling down, and I lose my shell, and I'm playing as Luigi, so it's a lot harder to swim. I start to lose all my breath, but I make it to the top, and the music cuts. We're treated to the sounds of birds chirping and a nice sunset. I don't know why, but it's so peaceful just being on this platform after having to fight a lot of enemies underwater. We can skip over Clockwork Ruins Galaxy as there's nothing really in it, and we can go to the next galaxy, Throwback Galaxy. That Womp's Fortress. That looks like Womp's Fortress, kind of. Throwback. Yes! Wait! Womp's Fortress. The music! This galaxy is so fucking cool. What's really cool about this galaxy is it's like you're actually returning. All the NPCs remember who Mario are, and even King Womp references the fight in Mario 64. You obviously have to do the same thing you did in Mario 64 with climbing to the top of the fortress and killing the Womp, but this time this Womp is a decoy and we have to fly right through to the bottom of the planet where we fight the real King Womp on the bottom of the fortress, and he is fucking huge. It's basically the same fight as the one in Mario 64. He'll slam down and you have to ground pound his back. Do this 3 times and he'll explode. This level is just so cool. I think this is the most obvious reference out of the entire game to Mario 64. After collecting all the stars, we can make our way over to the final level, Bowser's Galaxy Generator. We start off the level with getting past this fire bar and launching over to these 3 Hammer Bros. When you kill them, a flubber spawns, and you can use this to fly down to some dirt with a drill power up. You drill through the dirt and run along this oddly shaped planet to get to the launch star and play this Yoshi section. We can eat this chili pepper with Yoshi and run super fast before the lava wall crushes us. We then get to the snake block section where we have to dodge these funny lava guys, then climb this pole and use the golden planet to knock off the 3 locks, and we can make our way to Bowser for the final time. The Bowser fight is basically the exact same as the other 2, except this time Bowser's fist has some purple flames coming off it. So Bowser drops the final Grand Star, he turns small, and we can run up to the star and collect it. Bowser grabs the star and you go into a second phase of sorts. You're in this giant vortex thing with Bowser in the background slowly coming closer to try and punch you. Honestly, this boss fight might be the easiest boss fight I've actually had to fight. You have to hit these golden meters into Bowser like before, but except this time, they're the only platform you can land on, so it's literally impossible to miss them. We hit them 3 times, and with that, we can collect the Grand Star and go back to the ship, reunite with Rosalina, and finish post-game content. After we did that fight, there was a whole post-world that was unlocked called World S. The first level Mario Squared Galaxy is really short. All we have to do is switch all these blue panels on 8-bit Mario to yellow. But the next course, Rolling Coaster Galaxy. It's another galaxy that's themed around riding this stupid ball. I'm pretty sure this course is themed around the Rainbow Road tracks in Mario Kart games. Also, for some reason, my first run of this level was insanely good, and I came really close to falling off a couple times, but I beat this course in 1 attempt. The next galaxy we go to is a reference from the sub-areas from Super Mario Sunshine, except we keep our ability to spin. Our next galaxy we go to is Stone Cyclone Galaxy, and this one's literally just ripped from Beach Bowl. Remember the 3rd star in Beach Bowl Galaxy from the first game? Yeah, the structure that was in the sky. That's what this whole galaxy is. Even all the enemies are in the exact same place. The only thing that changed was the speed of the enemies. Honestly, I just didn't really like how Nintendo stole something from the first game and tried making it new. Hopefully they don't do it again. For fuck's say. Okay, I'm being dramatic. This galaxy is actually pretty cool. In Boss Blitz Galaxy, you face off between 5 of the bosses from the first game. Dino Piranha, King Caliente, Major Burrows, Bouldergeist, and Fiery Dino Piranha. It was honestly really cool seeing some of the bosses return from the first game, and it was a really nice throwback. After this galaxy, we have one final level left. We have to feed this Luma 2000 star bits, which is basically all my star bits, but it is the last level, so it shouldn't matter. The level we unlock really isn't anything special, with it just having these red and blue blocks in the wall, and when we spin they move in and out. But we collect all 120 stars in this game, and we can move on. A green Luma? Okay, he's telling us to do the final level again. Sure, let's just go do it. Okay, now Rosalina's telling us about green stars. Oh, what is this? So, apparently Nintendo added more stars to this game. Do you want to know how many stars? Double of what we have! Every stage basically has double the stars in them. I also can't really commentate over these stars, and that's not me making excuses. I mean, these stars are kind of just lazily placed all around the place. I mean, just look at the first one in the first level. The only thing notable was me finding this weird guy by mistake. What the fuck is that? Who are they? And finally, for one last time, we can collect every star in this game. Why aren't you cutting? I've just been informed by my assistant that there is more stars in this game. There is one final level. Fucking hell, when is this game gonna end? The final level is named Grandmaster Galaxy, and this is the galaxy that ends the Mario Galaxy series. I know I said this about Mario Wii with the ice block levels, but this level might actually be the worst level out of every Mario game. The level starts off with you using Yoshi to swing your tongue across these swings, but some of these swings are extremely tight. You then go to this section where you have to turn all these switches yellow, and then you go and collect this checkpoint and use these fans to push your cloud platforms to the launch star. After this, you collect another checkpoint and you have to get across this long platform switching red and blue platforms. After this, you got the pull star section where you have to wrap around all these lasers using pull stars, which I think is the worst mechanic in this game. You can then get to the final section where you have to get to the end while dodging and killing all these hammer bros. And with that, we are finally done. Oh my god! You know, it's the final star of the game. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's like the first game where I don't have to do anything. No brain power, no thoughts going into it. Oh, come on! So basically, you have to play through the whole of Grandmaster Galaxy again, except they removed all the checkpoints and made it so you have to beat it without taking any damage whatsoever. This one star took me about an hour to do, until I got this run. Also, ignore the ginger guy in the call, just pretend he's not speaking.
Is there Yoshi we'll play for? Just asking for fun. Right. Distant relatives, you know. There's no way! There's actually, like, there's genuinely no way. Is she, man?
This is the run.
Yeah, hell yeah. Sorry if I'm being awful distracting here, but this music is actually fucking awesome. Oh, a checkpoint! Right, actually just creamed my pants there. Everything's white.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Wait, it's supposed to be a star. Why is that a shooting star? Please say there's no, please say there's no more. No way, no way, no way. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fucking Rosalina's here. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. That sounds like my kind of game.
And with that, we have finally beat Super Mario Galaxy 2. Wait, are we actually done? I guess I should rate this game now. So this game would actually be ranked so much higher if it just didn't take me so long to complete. So let's give it 8.4 out of 10. Is that good? Let's hope we get a shorter game next. My wishes came true. This game is the first game we're playing on the 3DS, and this game was my childhood. This game is like if the 2D and the 3D games came together and made a child. This game also kind of feels like a beta test for a game later on in the series. What's weird is this game doesn't actually reintroduce any new power-ups. It just reinstates ones from earlier games. The main power-up of this game is the Tanuki Leaf, except you can't fly with it and you can only float. We start off with this game with finding out that Peach has been stolen by Bowser, obviously, and it's our job to go save her. We start to panic and run into the first level. To 100% in this game, we have to do 3 things in every level. Thing 1, we gotta beat the level. Thing 2, we gotta collect all 3 star coins in the level. And thing 3, we gotta get to the top of the flagpole in every level. I don't know why Nintendo decided to do this, but to 100% in this game, you have to get to the top of the flag in every level. What is kinda neat is some of the star coins, like the 2nd star in the first level, you have to use the 3DS's 3D feature to see what you're doing. I mean, the feature seems a bit forced, but it's honestly quite cool. Or it would be cool if I wasn't playing on an emulator and I could actually see it. In the 2nd level, they added a new enemy called the Inky Piranha Plant. This guy will basically spit at your screen and cover the whole thing in ink, which is very similar to the blooper from Mario Kart. Also, because I used to play this game a lot, I remembered about an infinite 1-up trick you can do in this level. So, I never game over in this game. I really like World 1-3 as you start up really high and you can basically jump all the way to the end from the top of the level right down to the end. These levels also introduced these really unique star coins that never returned in later titles. If you look into these binoculars, you can see a Toad in the distance, and if you zoom in on him, he'll drop a star coin for you. We get a thanks for Toad in the comments as well. We can skip past the next few levels and make our way over to World 1-Castle. This castle is very reminiscent to the castle from the older games. There's lava everywhere. You have Podoboos and some classic enemies like Drybones and Womps. Even the boss battle is very classic. You start to run up to this Bowser main castle part and he jumps out of nowhere with a tail because Nintendo aren't beating the furry allegations. And he starts to shoot fireballs at you. You can make it up to the bridge where you have to wait until he jumps to run under him, push the button and break the bridge below him. But when he gets burned, it's actually revealed that he's just a Goomba in disguise. Wait! This story is the exact same as the first game! We go through this door to save Toad and we can go and get the top of the flag. World 2! What you've probably noticed about this game is each world doesn't really have a theme. Like take Super Mario Bros Wii for example. The first world's theme is grass and then the second world's theme is sand and so on. In this game the first world's theme is green. And then the second world's theme is yellow. Also in this game, I'm not going to be talking about every level. I'm only going to be talking about the interesting ones. 2-2 is an underground level themed around these snake panels. One part I really like is you actually go outside the level. Only for a brief moment, but you can see that it's like a dungeon kind of structure. Also, this game is the first game to introduce the ability to roll, which means it's really easy to get this star coin right at the end. 2-3 is also a really weird level. In this level, you platform across these 8-bit versions of Mario characters. You go from Mario to a mushroom, then to Peach. Also, they made that end look exactly like the first Mario game. We can skip to the end of this world where we make our way into level 2-Airship. In some of the worlds, instead of ending with a castle, you'll end with an airship level. In these levels, you have to climb along multiple airships to reach the boss at the end. Boom boom. This boss actually appeared all the way back in Super Mario Bros 3. Even though he's from Mario Bros 3, I still like my little bum bum. He basically spins around really fast with his fists as he tries to hit you. In these fights, it's like every other boss. You have to jump in his head 3 times and then he'll die. We can go into World 3 and go into the first level. This level is outside in a desert looking up at this massive towery thing. You can freely run around this tower and you might also find a couple of star coins doing this. Once you finally decide to enter the tower, you have to take this cannon all the way to this door. Inside, you have to pass these toothed Womps and a couple other enemies and make it to this door that leads outside. You climb up these moving blocks and go back inside where you have to get past these goobers that jump when you jump. You then get past this swamp and make it to the top of the tower where you can reach the flagpole and end the level. In level 3-5 we have our first auto-scroller Woohoo! This level is themed around biscuits for some reason. In the first section, you basically have these biscuits that fly in from the right of you, and you can use them as platforms to jump across. When you get to the checkpoint, the level switches up, and instead of having biscuits flying at you from the right, you have white chocolate coming in from the front. Honestly, this is a really weird theme for a level, but it isn't the first time Nintendo's themed a level around food, and it isn't the last! The last level of this world is an airship again, and this time it heavily revolves around skewers. I really like this section near the end, where there are a bunch of skewers, and there's only a few safe spots for you to land in. You can get past this part and go through this pipe and fight with Bum Bum, except this time there are conveyors on the ground to make it a tiny bit harder. You can skip right through World 4 because there isn't really any special levels, except in the last level they switched it up, and instead of you fighting Bum Bum, you face off with a female variant of him called Pom Pom. Instead of spinning around in a circle and aimlessly trying to hit you, she jumps around the place and tries to hit you with her boomerang. Ugh, but you know me, didn't want to tempt because I'm a gamer. We can beat her and move on to World 5. The first level of this world introduces a new power-up that we haven't seen before, and that power-up is the boomerang power-up. It makes you throw boomerangs like a boomerang bro, so it's basically just like, oh, where's Fire Flower? I don't even like using the Fire Flower. This level is a section that is like a boss rush kind of thing. You're on this tower that is slowly rising, and as you go up, more and more enemies drop down on you, and you need to kill them to not die. The second level in this world might be one of the coolest levels. This level is basically a Zelda dungeon with its top-down view and its multiple paths. Also, getting this star coin helps with the fact. Hey, it was a Zelda reference, what the hell? In the last level of this world, we're treated to another castle level, but I'm going to save you some time and skip to the end where we can fight Bowser again. It's like the first level, except there's more obstacles and less space for you to move around. But you click the button and it's revealed that it wasn't Bowser, but it was a Kamek disguised this time. You save the two toads and move on to the next world. In 6-1, you basically run along this really long wooden bridge while a bunch of these different fish fly up at you. You also have these cracked parts of the bridge where these big fish will break the bridge below you. Honestly, I just really like this level and it was very memorable. 6-3 is a ghost house themed level which revolves around these teleporting platforms. If you stand on this platform, it will take you with it to wherever it's teleporting. Thought this was a very weird but cool feature, so I'm talking about it. The last level of World 6 is another airship level where we fight Pom Pom again, except this time there's some fire on the floor. Ooh! In World 7, the only level I really want to talk about is 7-4. This level is very similar to TikTok Lock from Mario 64. What I really like about this level is there's a remix of the main theme, except it's made to feel more mechanical. You basically platform over these spinning cogs and some other moving platforms. There's also these fast moles in the level. Anyways, cool level, I like it. In the airship, we can fight both Bum Bum and Pom Pom at the same time and move on to the last world. I don't really want to talk about any level in this world, so I'm just going to skip to the final castle. This castle is like a long version of the other castles, but you know, I'm just going to skip through it and we can get to the end where we fight the real Bowser this time. We do the same as what we've done, click this, and finally kill the real Bowser. You walk up this big flight of stairs and find Peach standing in the middle of a platform waiting for you to go save her. You walk up to her and turns out she's actually just a cardboard cutout. Bowser jumps out of nowhere with real Peach in his hand and then he just takes off. You collect the flagpole and then Mario kills himself. So before we fight Bowser again, we have to play through another final castle. We start off this castle on a bone coaster where we have to dodge these fireballs coming out of these cages. You then get to this section that has these rising platforms and more fireballs coming out of cages. You ride another bone coaster and end at this long staircase with a cannon at the end. You shoot all the way up to this tower and enter through this door. You walk in and Bowser jumps down from the roof. But because Bowser's a fat ass, he breaks the roof and you both go flying down. You both land in a structure and you have to keep running while Bowser's jumping around and shooting fireballs at you. You can make it to this bridge and kill Bowser for a final time, but he refused. He now basically shoots these purple fireballs that are a lot bigger than normal fireballs and a lot faster. You basically run past this section, then get to this bridge section where Bowser's behind you and he's chasing you where you have to dodge these brick blocks. You get to the end, click the button, and this time I think Bowser is officially dead. Holy shit! You can make your way up to Peach, slide down the flagpole, and save Peach. Now, I'm not even going to pretend because there's most definitely post-game content. Basically, there's a whole other 8 special worlds to play through. Now, I'm not really going to talk about these levels because all of them are just copies from the main levels. The only thing I will talk about, though, is once you beat the game, you get this postcard that shows Luigi trapped in a cell. So basically, the way we save him is by playing through the whole first of the 8 worlds, and beat the castle. This castle is basically the same as the first castle, except we only have 30 seconds to beat the level, and these stopwatches on the ground give us an extra 10 seconds. We get to the part where we fight Bowser and find out we're actually fighting Dry Bowser. This fight is basically the same, except Bowser shoots blue fire instead of orange fire. Apart from that, the fight is basically the same. But we can flip the switch, beat Bowser, and save Luigi. So, apparently this game is like Mario Galaxy 1, where we have to play through every level as Luigi. Honestly, this wasn't the worst. But hey look, while I was screaming in the pillow, we beat every level. Once you beat every level with both brothers, you unlock one final level. Now, I think this level is supposed to be a challenge, but it really wasn't. Can't really commentate on this level because it's all basically the exact same. There is a bit of cheese near the end where instead of you jumping on this Goomba, you can just jump up here and skip a tiny part. You can go in this pipe at the end and go and refight Bum Bum and Pom Pom again. Then get to this section with these moving platforms, and then there's this section that's a maze, but the walls are fire burners and you have the cosmic clone chasing you. Once you beat that, you can watch the last thank you and finally finish Super Mario 3D Land. This game was actually really fun for me to play through again, and it was really nostalgic. So 7 out of 10, you know. Now let's see what the next game is. Okay, so we have 3 No Soup games now. Nintendo really liked milking the No Super series. The first game was actually interesting because it brought back the 2D Mario genre. No Soup Wii was interesting because it brought couch co-op. But this game just feels like a cash grab. Like, 90% of the songs in this game are just ripped right out of No Soup Wii. The concept for this game is honestly quite cool. In concept, this game's whole concept is about collecting coins, but they didn't really pull it off well. Literally everything in this game gives you coins. Step on an enemy? Coins. Stand in a weird spot? Coins. Hit this brick block enough times to the point it will attach to your head? Coins. Now, to help with collecting coins, this game adds in a new power-up, the golden flower. This power-up basically works the exact same as the fire flower, except when it hits bricks and various other things, it will explode into coins. It's very useful if there's a wall of bricks you need to get past. You also can't take this power-up between levels, because when you complete a level with this power-up, you'll turn back into Fire Mario. They also brung back the Mega Mushroom from the first No Suit. Also, what's weird is this game also brung back the Tanuki suit like 3D Land, but it's went back to its old style where instead of being a full suit, it's just some ears and a tail. I don't know why they went back to this style, but I kind of rather it. It works like the Tanuki suit in Super Mario Bros 3 as well, because if you run fast enough, you'll get the ability to fly. To be honest, I was kind of excited for the bosses of this game, because since it's so similar to the first No Soup game, they probably have really unique bosses. In the tower levels, Nintendo decided to bring back Reznor from Super Mario World. Honestly, I find this pretty cool because we actually haven't seen these guys since Super Mario World, and it is only the mini tower anyway, so I'll let them away with it. Anyway, let's go to the big castle of World 1 and see the boss it's fucking Roy. Oh my god, they brung back the Koopalings. I am sick of these fucks. They were really cool when they were introduced, even in the game I didn't like, but now they're just doing my head in. This game is honestly so fucking boring. I genuinely can't remember a single level in this entire game. And you know what? This is my video. I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm skipping right to the end of the castle. I don't care if you're missing out on most of the game. But first I'm going to make a quick stop in the Cloud World. 0 out of 10, stolen from Wii. The start of the final castle is quite boring, with it being like any other regular castle, but when you get halfway through it starts to get interesting. All the Koopalings are in the background on this giant clown car, and randomly they'll shine a massive light at you. If you get hit by the light, you'll turn to stone and probably fall in lava. There are these walls that are in front of the Koopalings, and you can hide behind them. We can get past them and make it to the final boss. In this fight, we're greeted with Bowser. And it's like every other Bowser fight where you just click a button. Obviously, there's a twist, and he's, you guessed it, massive. Woo! Basically, instead of him chasing you from the left, this time you have to climb this tower with lava rising, and Bowser is trying to slash you with his hand. But we make it to the top, click this massive button, Bowser fucking dies, and we save Peach. Now, the bonus world. Like, even the bonus world of this game is just boring. Like, none of these levels scream hard, except maybe the final castle, and that's a maybe. In the Star World, there's a final castle, like the first final castle. This level is very similar to the previous one, with it having the Koopalings in the clown car turning you to stone. This section is dragged out for the entire level until you get to the final boss. Now, this boss is the exact same, except it's Dry Bowser. Yeah! We can do this boss fight, click the button at the top, and finally we can beat the shit game. Honestly, I've talked a lot of shit about this game, but it was actually nice coming back after all these years. But I'm gonna give this game a 4 out of 10. You know, I could really do with a break from the new Sup games. I really hope they don't make any more. Why? Nintendo thought people weren't happy enough with the release of New Super Mario Bros 2, so 4 months later they made another New Sup game. This game introduced a couple things to the New Sup games. This game has an open world map, meaning there are no loading zones between worlds. It also introduced a new power-up, the acorn suit. This suit basically turns you into a flying squirrel with its ability letting you glide, boost yourself up, and cling to walls. I do honestly think this is one of the best power-ups Nintendo have made. It just sucks that it's in a new Sup game. This game also reintroduced Baby Yoshis, but they work differently to the ones in Super Mario World. There are 3 different Baby Yoshi types that all have different abilities. The pink one, the blue one, and the glowy yellow one. The pink one puffs up really large like a balloon when you use him, letting you glide very slowly. The blue one blows bubbles when you use him, turning enemies into coins. Then the glowy ones help you see in dark areas. Honestly, I didn't really use these guys that much. They just kind of feel like a useless feature. Now, with the story, Nintendo actually decided to play around a bit. Instead of you starting at Peach's castle and you have to make your way over to Bowser's castle, you get flung across the Mushroom Kingdom and Bowser is taking over Peach's castle. Now, this game came out in the Wii U, and as you know, the Wii U didn't do that well. So they re-released like every Wii U game on the Switch, including this one. Now, I'm gonna have a hot take here. I bloody loved the Wii U. I actually don't know why everyone hated it, but it's one of my favourite Nintendo consoles. Now, because Nintendo didn't just want to re-release the same game again, they added some quote-unquote features. The only really notable feature I used was the ability to switch characters and not just play as Mario. Now, again, with this game, I don't really want to commentate over it, and again, it's my video. The only thing I will say is this level's very pretty. Now, the final castle. This castle is like really short. All the other final castles were decently long, but this one's just like the same length as the first level. The concept is kinda cool, but not as cool as New Sup 2. Basically, BJ is in this clown car and he'll randomly try to ground pound you. When he ground pounds, he can break brick blocks, make these platforms fall, and do some weird stuff with these bone ones. But it's really not that hard, with me taking damage from him once. We can make it to this door and make our way to the final boss. Obviously, Nintendo had to start it with the classic Bowser fight. We can click this button and make our way over to the real fight. See if they make him big. See if they fucking make Bowser big again. I'm actually going to be so pissed off, because if that's the only creative thing that Nintendo can think to do, is make Bowser big, I'm going to be so mad. Oh, for fuck's sake! So, yup, Nintendo made him big again. Now, this boss fight is a lot more like a boss fight than the other 2 New Sups. In this one, he's actually in the foreground, and you can interact with him. So basically, in this fight, you also have BJ flying around in his stupid little clown car, and he'll try to ground pound you. Only this time you can jump on his head and kick him out the car. You can jump into the car and ground pound Bowser's head. He'll start jumping around in his shell and then he'll breathe fire. And you know the rules. Hit the boss 2 more times and then he'll die. We basically make him tip over, let BJ kill himself, and go and save Princess Peach. Now, this game has a Star World. Ooh. Again, I just don't want to talk about this world because all these levels were boring and just didn't have anything with them. The thing I did like about this world is that there were toad houses dotted around the place, and going in, you'd get some special power-ups. These power-ups were just the propeller and penguin suit, but this is the only way you can get them in this game. Anyways, this game was pretty boring, and I feel like that may be because I've played 3 New Sup games so far. But it was just kind of boring. The only thing this game has is a cool power-up and the best soundtrack out of all the New Sups. So, this is getting a 4 out of 10. I don't even care. But finally, that's all the New Sups done. I'm just praying that Mario Wonder is nothing like these games, because I haven't played that yet and I'm pretty excited. Oh my god, I almost forgot to rate the Cloud World theme. .5 out of 10. We have a good game! This game is basically if we just took Super Mario 3D Land and made it awesome. This game might have the best soundtrack out of any Mario game. This game is honestly just amazing. I don't know what's switched in Nintendo's brain, but since this game, they've only been making awesome games. This game is actually just one of the best they've ever made. They've actually just got everything right. This game was actually one of the closest I'd ever come to 100% a game as a kid, but I didn't, for reasons you'll find out about later. This game brought back a feature that we haven't seen since the second game, and that's character abilities. There are 4 characters you can play as: Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. These characters literally just have the same abilities from Super Mario Bros 2. Mario is Mario, Luigi can jump high, Peach can float, and Toad can run fast. For this playthrough, I decided to play as Peach, as her floating ability is OP. Most of the power-ups in this game are the exact same as Super Mario 3D Land, except the Mega Mushroom. But Nintendo added one power-up, which is probably the most recognizable power-up out of the entire franchise. This power-up is the Super Bow. When you collect this power-up, you turn into a cat. Okay, I can't keep defending you, Nintendo. The furry allegations are getting too much. With this power-up, you can climb walls, slash, and dive. This power-up is very useful if you have a collectible that's up high and you can't reach it unless you have the cat power-up. And because we're on the topic of collectibles, let's talk about collectibles. This game has a lot of stuff to collect. In each level, you have to collect 3 green stars, 1 stamp, and collect the top of the flagpole. The green stars are very similar to star coins, but the stamps are pretty interesting. There's 1 stamp in each level, and when you collect this stamp, you unlock these stickers, and each level has a different sticker. Honestly, I really like this as a little extra thing to collect, because instead of it just being like a stat, a number, you get a little image with it. But you know, I've yapped too much. Let's just get into the game. I'm going to be doing the same thing I did with Super Mario 3D Land, where I'm only going to talk about the interesting levels. In the first level, we're introduced to the car power-up and the clear pipes. These pipes are basically placed everywhere in this game, and they can be useful at some points. The first level has this giant bunny for some reason, and when you catch him, he'll turn into a Mega Mushroom. This is the first time the Mega Mushroom has actually appeared in a 3D game, but we can collect the top of the flag and make our way onto the next level. In World 1-4, we load in and we're friendly greeted by this guy named Plessy. These Plessy levels appear all over the game, and they're kind of like their own game mode. You basically hop in the back of Plessy and she'll take a run up and dive into the water. In the whole level, she's basically constantly moving forward, and you can only steer her left and right. I really like this first Plessy level, except from one thing. At this part in the level, you have to make this decision to either go left and go into a secret waterfall, or go right and go on this windy path. If you take the windy path, you get a stamp, but if you take the waterfall, you get a star. I really don't like how you can't get both at the same time. Anyway, we can move on from that and make our way over to the first Captain Toad level. Now, in this game, they introduced these mini Captain Toad levels. These are basically a lot more puzzly than normal levels. You play as Captain Toad, who moves a lot slower than Peach, and he also can't jump. In these levels, you have to collect 5 separate green stars to complete the level. Absolutely love these levels. The concept for them is so unique, and Nintendo thought that as well, because he got his own spin-off game. Honestly, I think Nintendo really cooked here. Anyway, the castle level. This level is a very linear level that kind of themes around these football bombs or soccer bombs. You can basically swipe these bombs with a cat suit or simply kick them without any power-ups. We can make it through this level, collecting everything we need, and we can start to walk up these stairs. Basically, in this game, Bowser's in this sick-ass car. You have to chase him down this long path while he drives very slowly and shoots fire at you. He'll also fling the footballs from earlier, and if you can swipe one at the right time, he'll take damage. Do this 3 times, then his car will explode. We can collect the top of the flagpole and save the Sprixie. Once we save the Sprixie, she'll make a clear pipe all the way over to World 2. World 2-3 is a level named Shadow Play Alley, and the concept of this level is really cool. This level revolves around the concept of using shadows. The level feels like any other level at first, except you can pick up piranha plants, but it's not until you get to this door where it starts to get good. When you go through this door, you'll basically turn into a shadow. I really like how you can tell what everything is, but you also can't. It's really weird. We can pass by 2-4 as it doesn't really have anything interesting except the beach mouse, and we can make our way over to 2-5. This level introduces a new power-up thingy. It's not really a power-up. Basically, it's called the double cherry, and when you collect it, it duplicates your character. This honestly might be one of the coolest power-ups in the game, with it getting very confusing sometimes. You can have up to 5 players at once, and having the max amount makes this hellish. And also, you can't just avoid this power-up, because you need the multiple peaches for some stars. Anyway, thought it was a cool power-up, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it. This world introduces another level type that I want to talk about, and that's the mystery box houses. These mystery houses always have 5 or more green stars in them, and each green star is like its own minigame. Like, take the first green star for example. You have to defeat these 2 Galoombas to get the star to spawn. Or the third star for example, where you have to defeat these 2 furry Goombas. It doesn't seem hard, but the later mystery houses can become crazy. Now, the last level. This game, like Super Mario 3D World, introduces a new castle type. And this is the tank type. Basically, these levels are auto-scrollers, great, and you platform over these multiple tanks, and in these levels, you can collect one of the box heads, and that's the cannon box head. This box head will shoot randomly in the direction you're looking at, and these cannonballs can destroy pretty much anything. We can make it to the end, blow this wall up to get the star, and go down this pipe where we are greeted with a very familiar face, Bum Bum. This fight is basically the same as the one in 3D Land. You spin around a bit, you jump in his head, do this 3 times, and he dies. We can collect the flagpole and save the second Sprixie. You do the same as the first one with making a clear pipe for you to go through to go to the next world. World 3 is an ice-themed world, and we go into the first level, which introduces a plethora of new things. Firstly, they added snow pokies, and killing them will give you snowballs you can fling. They also re-added these propeller boxes from Super Mario 3D Land. And the final thing they added was these ice skates. These ice skates are massive shoes that you can sit in, and when you do, you glide over ice and spikes and stuff. You're constantly moving, and if you bash into a wall, you'll lose the ice skate. Very cool, and I like it. The next level we can go to is Shifty Boo Mansion. This level is the first ghost house of this game, and it's honestly perfect. This level captures the feeling of being in a ghost house pretty well, with boos appearing out of nowhere and everything is just moving about. Also, I really like this part at the end of the fake flagpole. I thought this was quite cool. 3-6 is a cool level with the whole idea being based around the original Mario Kart. This level is a cool nod to the game, and it also has a remix of the Mario Circuit theme. Now we can go over to the final level of this world, and this level is also a new castle type, and that is the train type. Probably already tell what this theme is, but if you're stupid, it's basically an auto-scroller, but you're on a train. Honestly, I really like this castle, and I hope something similar comes back in the future. Once we make it to the end of this level, we can go down this pipe and make our way to fight Pom Pom's back! In this game, Pom Pom actually works way differently to how she did in 3D Land. Basically, she still has her boomerang, and she'll still throw it at you, but when you jump in her head, instead of her going into her shell, she'll teleport to another location, but this time she'll duplicate herself, and you have to find out which one is the real one. You can tell which one is the real one because all the clones will have grey boomerangs while the main one has the pink one. Honestly, she really needed this change because she was too similar to Bum Bum. Anyway, we beat her and move on to the next world. What is this? So basically in this game, there will sometimes be an extra level that appears after the final castle, and you have to beat that before going to the next world. In this level, we get to fight with Histocrat. This fight is mainly based around the car suit. You basically have Histocrat right in the middle of the arena, and he'll summon these little guys out of the ground, and you have to climb them to get enough height to dive onto Histocrat's head. If you do this a total of 3 times, he'll explode. World 4 is another desert themed level for some reason, and this world has some pretty decent levels. But not decent enough because I'm not going to be talking about them. Except maybe 4-2, because that's a pretty cool level. In 4-2, we get introduced to this new enemy called a Piranha Creeper. These guys are like really long piranha plants that can just stretch and unstretch at any point. Basically, if you jump on their head, they'll unstretch, and if you get them right to the end of their tail, they'll die. They are basically the only reason I'm talking about this level. The last level of World 4 goes back to the classic castle, only this time we get to fight a new boss at the end. During this level, we are met with a bunch of these enemies called Broders. And basically the way you defeat them is by hitting them and then picking them up and flinging them in lava. Now, the boss is basically one of these Broders, except he's huge. He'll basically roll around a bit and try to hit you, but you can pick up one of his minions and fling it at him. You can do this a couple more times and move on to World 5. World 5 is a really pretty purple ocean world. This world has a lot of good levels. You thought I was going to say I wasn't going to talk about them, but I am! 5-1 is a kind of open world beach themed level. You basically have to explore this beach and look for these 5 key coins. Once you hunt about and collect all 5, you can go through this warp box and get to see Plessy again. Hi Plessy! And you ride her through this dark cave. World 5-3 is a really strange and unique level. In this level, you basically only have 100 seconds to beat the level, but you can honestly beat it in about 10. But the real challenge is collecting all the collectibles in the time limit. World 5-4 is a level named Sprawling Savannah, and it's probably the most recognisable level in this entire game. You basically start on this little platform and you have to take this clear pipe cannon over to this massive open section. I really love the just open feeling of being able to run around a massive grass patch while trying to find a couple green stars. This level isn't long, but it's just so recognisable for some reason. Now, let us skip to 5-7, where we can find a really cool mechanic that isn't really used anywhere else. You basically have these spotlights all around the map, and if you get inside its line of sight, it will turn into a Bowser pattern and these Fury bullet bills will fly at you. Honestly, a very cool feature, and I wish it was used more. The final level of this world is another castle level, which has another unique boss at the end. The actual level isn't that interesting, so let's just skip right through it where we can fight King Kathunk. I'm gonna say it, this boss might be the easiest of the entire game. Bum Bum has nothing on this guy. He'll basically slam down on you, and when he's face down you can jump on his back, which is squishy for some reason. 3 times, then he's dead. I also don't like his death animation, because he has tears in his eyes when he explodes. And that makes me feel really bad for him. After defeating him, Sprixie builds a pipe, which leads up this time. We go through it and make it to the Cloud World. 10 out of 10, this is such a good song. This world, like basically every other world, has some really cool levels. In the level Hands-on Hall, we spawn into an area that's based off of a traditional Japanese dojo building. You have to use a little feature in this, which I forgot about, and that's the cursor feature. It's very similar to the one in Mario Galaxy, except this one can interact with basically everything. Could rub enemies to freeze them, touch these doors to open them, or even bash this gong. This level is really cool, because it feels like you're invading into this building and stealing something. I don't know what, but it feels like I'm stealing something. We then go to this level named Prince Billy Blockade, and we can fight a mini-boss named Prince Billy. I feel really bad for this little guy. He'll basically run at you, try to damage you, and sometimes he'll shoot a fireball. The way you defeat him is by pushing him over to these pipes and condensing him down. And once he's condensed, you can kick him. This is another boss that just cries when you kill him, and I feel really bad, but he's in the way, and he has 1 star. 6-7 is the next level, and I know I've said this a lot, but this might be one of my favourite levels. Basically, it's an auto-scroller, but you have the threat of these fuzzies chasing close behind you, so if you fall, you're just dead. Honestly, a very cool concept for a level, and it wasn't the last time it was used. Now, the castle. This level is presented as a castle level, but it feels more like a tank level. Honestly, this castle is probably one of the most boring Bowser castles in this game. We get to the end and fight Bum Bum, who stole Pom Pom's ability, and we can move on to the next world. So, this is another boss fight we have to fight before getting to the next world. This one's weird. Basically, you have this little clown guy, and his name is Motley Boss Blob. He'll turn into a giant blob guy and bounce around a bit, but after a while he pops and you get a chance to hit him. And everyone, join in this time. You know the rules. If you're a Mario boss, you die with 3 hits. But we defeat him, collect a star, and make our way over to World Castle. And we're gonna skip through the first 6 levels and make our way to Tricky Trap Tower. You start this level just outside this tower, and your goal is to scale this tower while dodging all these womps and other obstacles to make it to the top. Once you take this warp box, you can collect the checkpoint and start going into this other tower, which looks similar to the previous one. This one seems a lot easier, with your only obstacle being these fizzlets, and all you have to do is collect these key pieces. Once you collect the key piece at the top, however, this purple cloud thing will all of a sudden appear from the top, and you have to make your way to the bottom of the tower before it catches you. We can skip every other level, as there isn't that much interesting levels for the last world, and we can make our way over to the last level, Castle Dash Castle. That's such a stupid name. Now, the main level isn't all that interesting, and neither is the boss. It's literally just the same boss from World 1 with Bowser and his cool ass whip. Honestly, for such a good game, this ending really isn't the best, and it's a little disappointing. No, another jar, Bowser! Bowser jumps off and explodes, and this clear pipe appears on the map. Whoever at Nintendo thought this was a good idea, I want them promoted right now. This music, and I'm gonna say it, is the best music out of every Mario game, even the spin-offs. Anyways, let's go to the second level, which is another Plessy level. Hi Plessy! In this one we have to ride down this sandhill thing, but unlike the first one, we have a really good chance of falling off. There is this section where you just have to pray and trust that Nintendo put invisible platforms here. We can then move on over to a level called Grumblump Inferno. This level is one of the most stupid levels at this entire game. Basically, the whole level revolves around these little cubic guys named Grumblumps. You stand on top of them and they'll start to turn along a path. Now, this feature is fine, I guess. It's just until you get to these cuboid guys. These guys turn extremely weirdly. I died to these guys a stupid amount of times. Anyways, I don't hate this level because the Grumblumps are kind of cute. Now, before we get to the final level, there are 2 required levels that we need to complete. These fights are just refights with 2 previous bosses, only with a couple tweaks. But anyway, beat them both, and we can go into the final level, the Great Tower of Bowser Land. I'm going to be so genuine when I say this. I actually feel like I'm in a movie when I play this level. I don't know if it's the music in this level, or the fact that you're platforming over the top of buildings, or a combination of both. You start off on this platform where you can see Bowser's whip all beat up and destroyed. You take this moving platform to get all the way over to the other rooftop, which has raining fireballs everywhere and fire bros which you have to dodge. You can get past these and make it to this spinning platform part with some bullies on them. If you knock all the bullies off, you get a green star. You then take this moving platform all the way down to the showdown. You start to walk up the tower and Bowser appears. He whips out a cat bell and turns into Meowser. Okay, Nintendo, stop making everything furries. What's next? You're gonna make everything a furry? Basically, the whole fight is you running away from Bowser as you climb up this tower, and he keeps appearing out of walls and coming out from the bottom and top. You successfully climb to this section which has a checkpoint. You know this is a long fight if it has a checkpoint in the middle. You start going up this long ass clear pipe and Bowser's chasing you until he falls behind. Bowser disappears into the cloud and we see a massive red flash. Bowser starts to gain speed on us, and then another Bowser appears, and we discover that Bowser actually used a super cherry. We're still trying to climb this tower, but instead we have 5 more Bowsers chasing us. After getting past this wall with like a gazillion Bowsers popping out, we get to the final section of the level with a green staircase going all the way up. Bowser keeps coming out from everywhere, breaking the staircases and trying to hit you. You make it all the way to the top with presumably the real Bowser sitting on a POW block with the Sprixie jar. You punch the POW block a bunch of times and Bowser explodes, releasing all the Sprixies. You go back to the Mushroom Kingdom through the clear pipes and watch the credits roll. Now, you know there's going to be a bonus world, but there's still so much for us to do. Now, you may be thinking we're near the end, there's going to be like one bonus world. We still have a lot to do. We come back to World 1 and notice a rocket just before the first level. If we go into this rocket, it will take us to a new world named World Star. This world is like the bonus world of this game. It has some extra levels that have a little bit of challenge to them. The first level isn't much, with it only consisting of some spinning rainbow platforms and some beach mouse you have to avoid. This level is not interesting, but the second level is, with it being named Super Galaxy. This level bases itself around these rotating platforms. Basically, the red ones will all turn, and then the blue ones will all turn. These enemies which appeared in Mario Galaxy return, and even Lumas return? Wait, is this a slight nod to Mario Galaxy? Honestly, I really like how they haven't completely forgotten about Galaxy, and they still like adding small details in. Oh my god, is that the Comet Observatory? Okay, so that's a big reference to Mario Galaxy, but surely that's all they do. Holy shit. Basically, when you beat this level, you unlock a whole other playable character, and that's Rosalina. She basically has the same movement you had in Mario Galaxy, with her being able to spin and all that. She is honestly quite useful, but I'm still going to use Peach, because I've just discovered that you have to beat every level with every character. Every easy level I'd have to do again. Every boss I'd have to do again. This is like Super Mario Galaxy, except times 5. I'm just going to forget about that right now and move on. The next level is a level named the Great Goal Pole. In this level, the goal is right at the start. Okay, I guess I should just go grab it and... Oh. It ran away. Basically, in this level, you have to chase the goal while it flies away from you. The next level, Super Block Land, is a big reference to Super Mario Land. The music is a remix from the Mario Land music. There are a bunch of these exclamation blocks that were used a lot in 3D Land, and even these propeller blocks that are back. Anyways, a cool little callback, and I thought it was nice. Anyway, you can skip through every other level in this world and make it to Another rocket. This rocket takes us to a whole other world named World Mushroom. This is the world that starts to get a bit boring because most of these levels are just copies from previous levels. Genuinely don't want to talk about this world because every level is just a repeat. After completing every level in this world, we can walk over this bridge and make it to World Flower. This world is the same problem as World Mushroom, as it's just previous levels copied over, and it has some questionable names. There is one level I want to talk about, and that's the last level, Boss Blitz. This level is basically a boss rush. You have to complete 5 bosses within the time limit, and they aren't that generous with the time either. Basically, the 5 bosses are Bum Bum, Pom Pom, Boss Broder, Kinka-Thunk, and the 2 Histocrats at the same time. Once you defeat all of them and collect all the key fragments, you can move on to the final boss, and that being a harder version of Motley Boss Blob. Once you defeat him, you've beat every level in Super Mario 3D World. Except you haven't, because there's one more world left. After you collect every stamp, green star, and top of the flagpole, you unlock a rocket which takes you to the final world, World Crown. This world only has 3 levels, but let me tell you, these levels are the hardest levels I've ever played. You have a Captain Toad level, which is honestly not that hard compared to the other 2, it's just some basic Toad stuff, but the others... Basically, in this world, there's a mystery house that has 30 green stars, with each green star having its own challenge. And let me tell you, this shit ain't easy. The amount of times I died when playing this level was actually just demoralizing. This level had just gotten way too hard, and we hadn't even got to the hardest level yet. Let's try this again. Finally, I'd beaten the level! It only took me, what, like a couple hours? But anyway, after beating that level, we can move on to the final level, Champions Road. I've heard rumours about this being one of the hardest levels in all of Mario games, so I was pretty scared. Spent a bit in this level, but it genuinely didn't take that long. It definitely wasn't harder than Mario Galaxy 2's last level, and it wasn't even harder than the Mystery Box level. Let me run it down for you. Start on this platform with a bunch of Octo Goombas in the way, and you make it past to get to this weird part with a bunch of charging chucks in the way. I fell through these little gaps so many times, and every time I did, I would actually not want to live anymore. You get to this warp box and get to the section that is based on these really fast beat blocks. If you get the pattern right, this section becomes pretty easy. You get past this part with the Magic Koopas and make it to this section with some swinging spike bars. Now, this part might be one of the hardest parts of the level if it wasn't for the lucky cat suit. Basically, with this power up, when you ground pound, it turns you into this invincible lucky golden cat. And because you're invincible, you can just destroy these spike bars and make this 100 times easier. Then it's this section which you can just cheese with a cat suit, and then this water section which just requires some tight swimming. We take this cannon and make our way over to the final section. This section is filled with a bunch of speed platforms, meaning you can't stop even if you wanted to. And you also have these lasers shooting at you. At the end of this section, you gotta collect these 5 key pieces and make it to the warp box, which takes you to some clear pipes that spell out the words thank you. We grab the flagpole and end the game. Except we don't, because we still have to beat every level with every character. Obviously, I'm not gonna talk about every single playthrough I did, so I'm just gonna... But with that, that is Super Mario 3D World done. 8.5 out of 10. This game is the best game ever made. I'm gonna be 100% real when I say this. I think this is my favourite game of all time. This game played such a big part in my childhood. You don't actually understand how many hours I spent into this game. Look, I have the gold Luigi Balloon World thing. This game was actually the first game I ever 100%ed. The only reason this video was made is because I really wanted to replay through this game again. Anyway, I'm yapping a lot, but I just love this game to pieces. We start the game right off with a bang, with Mario and Bowser in one of his airships just above the Mushroom Kingdom. This time Bowser actually beats Mario by flinging his hat at him. Mario goes flying off the ship with his hat being destroyed in the propeller. Bowser flies off with Peach and tells us his plan where he's gonna actually marry her. We wake up in a quiet dark place with a little ghost guy tapping us, trying to wake us. We wake up He shits himself and we start to chase him for some reason. We finally catch up to him and he explains that his name is Cappy and his sister has been stolen by Bowser and he has to go save her. So Mario and Cappy decide to team up to defeat him. Cappy transforms into a replica of Mario's hat and we start heading towards the big tower in the middle. The movement in this game is honestly some of the best movement I've ever seen. Basically with Cappy you can fling him and make him do a multiple of things. You can jump on him, break boxes, pull stakes out of the ground, flick switches and so much more. But if I was naming everything you could do with him, I'd be here all day. We can move along this bridge and go through this door to start our climb up the tower. The tower looks way too tall to climb and the only thing we have to help is some frogs down the side. We fling Cappy into the frog and we quote unquote capture it. By capturing the frog, we basically take over his body and we control the frog now. This feature is honestly one of the coolest ideas Nintendo's ever had. This feature is just so versatile, as long as Nintendo doesn't f*** it up. You thought I was gonna go silent. They actually didn't f*** it up. This game's brilliant. Anyway, back to the frogs. We can use the frog to get to the top of the tower and face off against our first boss, Topper. Topper's a part of a gang of bunnies called the Broodals. And these are like this game's Koopalings. And Toppers fight you wear these green hats, and by hitting them with your cap, you can knock them off his head. You reveal his soft spot when you do this, and you can jump on him to damage him. Do this 2 times, and he dies. When he dies, an electric wire will spawn, and apparently you can just capture this and turn into a shock ball thing. We go along this wire and end up in a place called Cascade Kingdom. This kingdom is drastically different to the first one, with it being in this prehistoric era. You fly in so quickly that the wire snaps, and you land face first into this grass. You see this giant standing rock and you go near it and see a chain chomp. You can fling your cap at it and you guessed it, you can capture him. With his ability you can basically just slingshot him into the rocks, and apparently he's super strong because he can just break the rock. When you do break it, the rock reveals a moon. The moons are basically this game's stars or shine sprites. You have to collect 860 to 100% this game. In comparison, Mario Galaxy 2, the game with the most stars, and the one that took me so long to 100%, had only 240. Anyway, when you collect this moon, the rock falls and acts as sort of a bridge for us to get along. We make it to this really rusty thing in the wall, and Cappy explains that we can use this to get around, but we just need a few more moons. We head along a bit and see this T-Rex just eeping here. We can fling Cappy at it, and we can actually capture it. This T-Rex is actually like really powerful. He can just break stones by walking right through it. He can also just kill chain chomps with ease. Use this T-Rex, break these stone blocks, and start to kind of go around the kingdom. We get to a part of a big chain chomp and a massive stone in the wall. We obviously use the chomper to break this stone and reveal a wall with a pipe. Going through this pipe, we are transformed into a 2D version of Mario, who is modelled after the first game. Honestly, I really like this feature, with the whole game style just completely changing. And it's just such a nice callback to the first Mario game. In this section, we can actually find a secret area through this little gap in the wall, and this area has a moon in it, which is nice. We make it to the top and see this massive bunny with a golden chain chomp. Her name is Madame Brood, and she acts like a mother to the Broodals. I don't think they're related though. In this fight, she'll basically use her pet chain chomp to fight you with her launching it at you. You can hit this chain chomp with your hat and knock its hats off. Once you knock all of them off, you can actually capture this chain chomp, pull back and hit her in the face. You do this a couple more times and she'll explode and die, dropping a multi-moon. A multi-moon is basically like a normal moon, except you get 3 in 1 instead of 1 in 1. We collect this moon, fly back down to the ship, and set sail onto the next kingdom. This kingdom's obviously based around a desert, but for some reason it's cold and there's ice everywhere. Basically, the whole plot of this game is Bowser stole something from each kingdom, and we have to go help the kingdom get it back. In this kingdom, he actually stole a massive wedding ring for his wedding. We learn from the locals that we have to go over to this temple right in the middle of the sand. This temple has a new capture in it, and that is the bullet bill. Basically, how it works is that it can boost forward really fast, but if it hits a wall or it runs out of time, then it'll explode. This can be very useful for very specific cases. We can climb this temple and make it to this 2D section, which wraps around this cylindrical tower, and we have to dodge these 2D bullet bills. There's also this little secret area which has 4 purple coins in it. I actually probably should explain what purple coins are then. Basically, in every kingdom, there's either 100 or 50 purple coins, depending on the size of the kingdom. With these coins, we can go to a shop named the Crazy Cap. The shop always has 2 counters. The yellow coin shop, which is universal in every single kingdom, and the purple coin shop, which is kingdom specific. Oh, and the coin shop also sells the infamous nipple. From these shops, you can buy stickers, souvenirs, hats, and costumes. And you've probably already seen me wearing the poncho and sombrero. Anyway, back to where we were. We can climb all the way up this tower and make it to a moon. Once collected, these moving platforms will appear and make it to the sand plateau of sorts. On this island, there are 5 moon shards, and we have to collect them all to progress. There are these guys on the island named Moais, and you can actually capture them. When you capture them, you can flip their sunglasses down, and you reveal a bunch of invisible platforms that you couldn't see before. But we collect all these shards and progress over to the inverted pyramid. We can enter the pyramid and face off with the labyrinth of obstacles. We start off with this big gap, and we have to use this bullet bill to progress over. Then we get to this 2D section which constantly switches your gravity. You have to be careful at some parts, otherwise you'll switch gravity and fall. We can go through this pipe and make it to this outside part, which seems a lot more chill than the rest of the labyrinth. So we go through this pipe and make it back into the pyramid. We get to this really big gap, and we have to use another bullet bill to make it across, and we can make it to the top of the pyramid. Once at the top, we can actually face off with our second Broodal, Harriet. Basically, in this fight, Harriet will throw these bombs at you, and you have to fling your cap at them to knock them back at her. Once you do, her metal hat will fall off, and you can bounce on her head. You do this 3 times and collect the multi-moon. When we get back to the Odyssey, it seems we've been here so long that it actually turned night. We have to make it through the kingdom, but this time we actually have these mummy guys that will appear sometimes now. We can jump down this hole and make it to this massive ice cave thing. We can run right through this cave without a lot of hassle and make it to the second boss of this kingdom, Knuckletech. Basically, this boss is just a floating head with some hands, and you have to actually capture the hands and punch him in the face. You basically run around this arena, and he'll try to slam down with his fist, but if he hits a bit of ice, he'll hurt his hand, and we can capture it. Anyway, do it a couple times, and he explodes. With this, Sand Kingdom actually isn't cold anymore, and we can move on to the next kingdom. When we get into the Odyssey, we actually have a split path between 2 kingdoms. There's Lake Kingdom, which is a small, chilled out level, which is based around water. And there's Wooded Kingdom, which is this massive forest with robots working in it. Because Lake Kingdom was a smaller kingdom, I chose to pick that one first. This kingdom is actually like absurdly small. Like, I think it might be one of the smallest in the game. Not the smallest. We'll get onto that later. Basically, in this kingdom, Bowser's decided to steal Lake Kingdom's precious wedding dress. We can see the Broodals have arrived here already with their ships circling a platform in the middle of the kingdom. We can make our way over to it using the Cheep Cheeps to help us breathe. In this fight, we face off against another Broodal named Rango. Basically, he's the tallest of the Broodals, and what he'll do is he'll fling his hat at you, and if you hit it, it will reveal a flower pattern. Jumping on his hat will launch you up in the air, and you can get enough height to land on his head and damage him. He also does this thing, which is kind of scary with him jumping really fast. Anyway, we can beat him, collect some more moons, and make it to Wooded Kingdom. You start off in this little forest area, and you have to answer the Sphinx questions to gain access to the rest of the kingdom. Basically, in this kingdom, Bowser's trying to steal all the flowers for his wedding. Also, I don't think Bowser can legally do this. Yep, just looked it up. Can't legally do that. This kingdom adds a new enemy to the Mario universe, and it's also capturable. The enemy is the Uproot. Basically, the Uproot can stretch its legs really long, and that lets you get to higher places or move platforms up. You basically climb the kingdom with this little guy and get to this maze part. Once you get through the maze, there's this massive piranha plant in the way that's spitting poison at you. If you defeat him, you'll gain access to this button, which will trigger a flower path to appear. You can take this path all the way to the bottom of this tower. Once inside, we can climb this tower using Uproots and make our way to the battle with the 4th and final Broodal. Basically, this guy's name is Spewer, and he likes to spew poison at you. I actually feel bad for this guy because his fight is stupidly easy. I don't know how anyone could die fighting him, let alone take damage. Basically, he'll shoot poison at you in a big circle, and your goal is to hit him once to knock his hat off, then jump on his head to damage him. I just feel really bad because he was trying to be like the rest of the Broodals, but he just couldn't live up to their name. But we can defeat him and head back to the Odyssey. Our next goal is to fight another boss, which is all the way at the top of the kingdom. Along the way, there's this brick wall that we have to get past, and it's completely blocked off. So what's the only logical thing to do? Capture a fucking tank. So yeah, there's these guys called Sherms, and they're just a tank. I don't know what's going on with Nintendo. Basically, just after the wall, there's this ramp that's too steep to climb up. So what we do is pick up these flowers on the floor named rocket flowers, and we can use these to boost us really fast. Once we're at the top, we get to this section with some bombs and a couple shields. If we blow up these shields, we gain access to the middle of the kingdom. If we jump down here, we see that this machine is picking up all the flowers. All we have to do is capture an Uproot and hold in on this glass bar at the bottom. Doing this will actually activate the fight. In this fight, the boss will put these little things down, and we have to go under them all and explode them. Once you get all of them, the robot will flip over and you can get a hit on him. Obviously, we do this a couple more times and we defeat him, and we can move on to the next kingdom, Metro Kingdom. On the way, we actually run into Bowser's airship. We basically land in a kingdom named Cloud Kingdom, and we can face off against Bowser himself. Oh, and first, let's rate the Cloud music. 0 out of 10. In the fight, Bowser will basically fling his hat at you, which has these boxing gloves on him. While it's coming at you, if you hit it, you can pick it up and wear it. Once wearing it, you can start to rapidly punch Bowser until he gets flung back. And like every other boss, we do it 3 times, and Bowser gets knocked back into his airship. Even though you just won the fight, Bowser will get pissed anyway and shoot fireballs at you and hit the Odyssey, and you go flying back down to Earth. Once you land, you see that the Odyssey is wrecked, and you end up in a kingdom named Lost Kingdom. This kingdom is basically this game's jungle level. You start to run a tiny bit deeper into the kingdom, and a bird comes and steals Cappy from you. What's crazy is we've actually seen this bird before. All the way back in Super Mario 64. You remember that bird in Shifting Sandland that would steal your hat? Yeah, that's the same guy, Klepto. Basically, in these kingdoms, you have these platforms that move up and down when you ground pound one end. If Klepto's standing on the short end of the platform and you ground pound the long end, he'll explode and die. There isn't actually much of this kingdom with it not having a boss and only a few moons. We also have these guys who are like wigglers mixed with xylophones. Anyway, we collect all the moons and we can make our way to Metro Kingdom. Finally. When we arrive, it's nighttime and it's pissing it down. We learn from Mayor Pauline that a big ass mechanical wiggler is on top of the tallest building. Basically, our goal is to make our way through the city and climb this big ass tower and make it to the fight. We reach the top, the wiggler knocks us off, and we begin the battle. Basically, the wiggler will crawl along this wall, and what you have to do is capture a sherm and shoot out all its sections. You do this a total of 2 times, not 3. And you defeat the wiggler. When you fly back to the Odyssey, it actually turns day and the rain stops. Also, the city's moved around a bit, like this wire is over here now. Actually, take this wire down and... You get the best theme ever. Oh. I love this theme so much. An absolute banger plays. If we go to the town centre, we can talk to Mayor Pauline, and she explains that she wants to host a big festival, but she doesn't have a band to play for her. We have to explore around the entire city and find the 4 band members, and once you've collected them all, you can talk to Pauline and start the festival. Festival is just like a celebration of Mario. Just listen to the music. The whole festival is a 2D section, and it's basically themed around Mario's first appearance, the OG Donkey Kong. It has these barrels all over the place which will roll at you, and you gotta dodge them, and your gravity will do all kind of weird things like 2.2. Before 2.2 was a thing. We can go through this massive 2D section and make it to the end, which is literally just the first level of Donkey Kong. We can make it to the top, which actually has Donkey Kong guarding the pipe, and you have to take him out by hitting these 4 question mark blocks. We can go through this pipe, talk to Pauline, and collect the multi-moon. And with that, we can move on to our next kingdom. This time we do actually get another split choice. We can either go to Snow Kingdom or Seaside Kingdom. This playthrough, I decided to go for Snow Kingdom because snow is cool. When we arrive, there's actually a blizzard, and this means it's really hard to see. We can make our way through the kingdom, dodging these typhoons, and we stumble upon a big pile of snow. We use Cappy to get rid of the snow and reveal a massive hole. If we jump down this hole, we enter a place called Shiveria. This place is like an underground town thing in the snow. Basically, Bowser has locked up the entrance to the lower part of the town, and what we have to do is collect 4 different power moons from these rooms so we can open the 4 gates. Each of these rooms has like their own challenge in them. Like this room where you have to use a bunch of Goombas to make these icicles fall and allow us to make a bridge across to the moon. Or this one where we fight Rango again, only this time we're on ice. This really doesn't make it any harder. But we'll collect these 4 rooms and make our way to the Bound Bowl Arena. Basically in this kingdom, locals will race each other by bouncing along a track. We go up and talk to this guy and he tells us we can't compete because we're human. So we go around the back and see this guy who's crying. But you know, he made the rookie mistake and wasn't wearing a hat, so I can easily possess him. Basically, these races are like kind of fun. You can roll around and jump, but if you time your jumps just perfectly, you'll do a super jump, which gives you a lot of speed. We can complete the racing first, collect some more power moons, and make our way over to Seaside Kingdom. This kingdom is completely opposite to Snow Kingdom, as it's on a beach. When we arrive here, we see a massive glass in the middle, and this big ass octopus is drinking all the soda out of it. This kingdom is another kingdom which introduces a new enemy, and this kingdom's enemy is the Gushin. Basically, he's an octopus that's in a water bubble, and when you capture it, you can spray spray water to boost yourself around. Basically, the kingdom usually has these 4 water cannons that allow people to shoot all the way back to the top of the glass, and we have to turn them back on. Every time we turn one on, we actually damage the octopus, annoying them even more. Once we do turn them all on, the octopus comes down and we get a chance to fight him. We basically have to use the gushions to smash his head with a bunch of water. We can do this through a couple phases and make our way over to the next kingdom, Luncheon Kingdom. This kingdom is just so pretty. It's so pastel-y and nice. This kingdom is basically themed around food and cooking. I mean, just look at the rocks. They're in the shapes of fruit and vegetables. We land near the edge of the kingdom and we can see the Broodal's ships circling a platform. We can make our way over, dodging these tomato lava bubble guys, and we find out that they sent down fucking Spear to fight. Kinda feel bad for Spear, he's just so easy to fight. But we can defeat him and make our way into town. The theme that plays in this town is such a nice theme. It's just really good. And fun fact about it, the composers actually used real kitchen supplies to make the instruments. We can start making our way around Mount Valbono to this section, which has some pan bros. I know, I love these guys too. And this little part of a moon. What's cool about this kingdom is the main way you move around the Pepto-Bismol is by capturing these lava bubbles. If we climb this little plateau, we can see a big pile of meat just kind of lying here. I don't actually know why this is here. Maybe if I fling my hat at it. Okay, so we capture the meat. If we twitch with the meat, this big ass mama bird will come down, pick us up, and drag us to the bowl at the top of the volcano. This bowl has a few pieces of food that we can platform across, and right at the end is a multi-moon for us. After we come back, we are told to go round the left of Mount Valbono this time and actually enter inside. We have this section with some moving rollers coming down the Pepto-Bismol ramp, and we gotta climb this with a podaboo. When we come at the other end, we actually have to climb the mountain this time using locals as a slingshot. Moving platforms with lava on one side and these cannons which shoot out vegetables at you. Anyway, we make it to the top of a podaboo and use this cannon to launch ourselves into the bowl. This time, Cookatail, the big mama bird, actually spots you and you start a fight with her. In this boss, she'll basically shoot these spiky balls at you, which... where is she storing these? We have to dodge these for a period of time and then she'll start to shoot Pepto-Bismol at you. You actually use this as a path, seeing as you're a podaboo. You can climb this path and bash in her head. Every phase after this is basically the same, except her Pepto path gets harder and weirder each time. Anyway, we get the final hit in, collect the multi-moon, and move on to our final kingdom, Bowser's Kingdom. On the way over, I accidentally loaded up Dark Souls or something because what the fuck is this? We run into Bowser, who's riding this realistic ass dragon. I don't know where the fuck Bowser found him or how Bowser caught him, but holy shit. If Bowser could pull this shit off, how does he get defeated by some fat Italian? Anyway, the dragon hits the Odyssey and we lose control and land in a place named Ruined Kingdom. This kingdom is actually the smallest kingdom in the game. There's literally like no moons in it. We can see this massive tower in the distance and an electric pole that takes us up to the tippity top of the tower. When we arrive, the dragon shows back up and we actually have to fight him. Yeah, I stand no chance. In this fight, he'll shoot his dragon breath, which releases these spinning magical saw blade things. Once we dodge these and they disappear, he'll slam his face down, which produces these wavy laser things. After using up all his power, he'll get tired and go to eat. We can run up him and pull these swords out of his skull, which is holding together this weird Bowser thing, and we can hit his soft spot. Every time he slams down, the lasers actually appear with a new pattern. We can bash him 2 more times and we can finally make our way over to Bowser's Kingdom. This kingdom is actually really cool because usually in Mario games the final castle will be this big lava fortress thing. In this game they decided to switch the theme up completely and go for like a traditional Japanese theme. This kingdom is made up of a bunch of these buildings which are spread really far out from each other. We can use these different wires to get to different sections until we end up in front of this big guy. He basically has this slammy thing and he'll slam it down trying to squish you. If you get in his head and ground pound, you'll absolutely obliterate him. We can make our way over more wires and get to these 2 boss arenas. I stepped on the left one first and 2 of the Broodals flew down. Harriet jumps out the ship and we have to refight her, only this time she's a tiny bit harder. We can defeat her and make our way over to this right platform where we refight Topper. This fight is basically the same as the one in Cap, but he has like a gazillion hats instead. We defeat him and make our way to the main part of the kingdom, this giant ass wall. Basically we have this massive wall and you're probably thinking, magic, how do we climb the wall? With this little guy, of course. These little birds are named Pokios, and they're basically my favourite capture in the entire game. They basically have their beak, which can extend out pretty far, and they can use their beak to attack enemies, but the main use of them is climbing walls. You can basically stab your beak into one of these walls and you can stabilize from the beak. If you pull back in any direction, you can flick the Pokeo. We have to make it up this absolute behemoth of a wall by flicking ourselves. The wall has these circle spinny things and these sideways moving walls. But we get to the top and overlook this massive Bowser statue. We use this wire to make it right to the top of the kingdom and meet Bowser eye to eye. He pussies off in his ship and fucking punches Mario. While he's leaving, he sends back all the Broodals to fight us, but this time they're in a massive wooden beast. Basically, the robot will shoot these bombs at you, and what you have to do is capture a Pokeo and bash these bombs into its metal legs. If you hit 2 bombs into its legs, it will fall over, and you can climb it with this Pokeo and Pokeo the glass container containing Spear until we break the glass. We can do this with other 3 Broodals and send the robot flying off into the distance. We also get an L in the comments for this robot. We collect the multi-moon and start to chase Bowser. Basically, Bowser has fled to the moon, which we find a chapel on. Mario gets this wedding outfit and we can make our way to the chapel. We get blocked right at the bottom of the wedding hall because we need to get all the way up here, but we are all the way down here, so we gotta take this cave all the way to the top. We start in this section with a couple of parabones that we can capture. We fly over this lava lake and get to this section with some tanks. We can blow up this cage and make it up the wire where we get to this section with some moving platforms and enemies in the way. Moving through that, we get to this part of a bonsai belt and a massive gap. Obviously, we capture the bonsai, fly through these blocks, and make it here with a charging chuck and some balls. We can finally make it to the end of Moon Cave and fight Madame Brood one last time. She's basically the same as she was in Cascade, except our Chain Chomp has more hats now. Anyway, she's dead, and we can finally reach the final fight with Bowser. This fight is basically the same as the one in Cloud, except it's a tiny bit harder. When he jumps around, he leaves these fire laser things, which expand around in a circle. He also has his new attack where he blows fire around in a circle, and you gotta jump over it. Basically, you punch him 3 times, he'll fly into a pillar, and he turns into Freaky mode with all his clothes falling off. Peach is freed, and you can start to make your way over to her, but not before the cave starts to collapse. You land in a place that's filled with lava and falling rocks. Your path looks to be blocked, but you only have one other option left. You actually take control of Bowser in this game. What is this, Bowser's Inside Story? Bowser can basically slash to break things that are in his way, and he can also breathe fireballs to get things that are further away. This whole last section is us trying to make our escape out of the moon while the entire cave is crumbling. We get to this section, which is really cool because it's a throwback to our first Power Moon. We can use this as a bridge and go through this pipe, which takes us to a 2D section, but we're actually playing as Bowser. We can use them to break these bricks which are in our way and make it out of the 2D section just in time. We get to this wall which we have to smash a bunch of times and a big white light appears. And we have to smash this rock in the middle. We have to break these 4 rocks out of their cage to get this outer shell off. Then we have to smash this moon rock a bunch to reveal a wire. We capture the wire while still capturing Bowser, which is kinda weird, and we can make it out of the cave. This absolutely iconic scene plays with Bowser and Mario trying to propose to Peach, and she just shuts the both of them down. While Mario and Bowser are greeting in the corner, Peach starts to leave with the Odyssey, and the best ending to the game plays.
Gonna start.
This game is so good! Now, this isn't actually the ending to the game, as we have a couple more things to do. Basically, after the credits play, we can land in the Mushroom Kingdom, which is cool and stuff, but it has this costume, which is literally just Mario 64 Mario. Now, I know I say this a lot, but I genuinely don't know how I'm supposed to commentate over this, because Yoshi! Anyway, I don't really know how I'm supposed to commentate over this, because it's me literally just going through kingdoms I've already been to, collecting more moons. There is a couple things I can talk about though. Once you collect 250 moons, you gain access to the dark side of the moon. This kingdom basically has one purpose, and that purpose is a boss rush. You basically have this massive carrot structure in the middle, and you gotta enter it from the bottom. What you have to do is kill all the Broodals going in order of Topper, Harriet, Spear, and then Rango. Also, you can't die doing any of these fights, because if you do, you'll get sent right back to the start. Also, you can't really regenerate health, because they didn't add any life up parts between the battles. And then also, once you beat Rango, you have to fight the big mech from Bowser's Kingdom. But after a few attempts of this boss rush, we can collect the multi-moon. Once we get back to the Odyssey, Nintendo actually gives us a royal outfit to show our skill. But the last thing we can unlock in this game is the darker side of the moon. Basically, the requirement for this is to collect 500 out of the 999 moons. This level is like the final level of every Mario game, except this one's just kind of easy comparing to the rest. I'm gonna be so genuine when I say this. I accidentally deleted the footage when I was doing it, so I guess I gotta do it again. You start off in front of these poles which you have to platform across, but be careful because anytime you grab onto them, they start to fall and you gotta move fast. You next get to this part with these moving platform things. In all fairness, this section is pretty easy and we can make it to the Polderaboo part. You have to dodge and weave past these spike bars and jump into the different parts of lava. We take this cannon over to this part where we have to climb a wall and then make it to this icy water section. You have to use these air pockets to not freeze to death, and then we can take this Yoshi up to this big wall part of Fuzzy. We take this flower path all the way over to this weird scarecrow part. You have to put Cappy on this scarecrow and these blocks will start appearing out of the wall. You can use these as platforms, but you have to be fast so you don't get pushed off. We can then get to this part which can be cheesed so heavily. What you're actually supposed to do is take Glydon all the way down here to this fork part where you got to do some stuff, and then go into this pipe where you got to do some more stuff. But what you can actually do is get tremendous height with Glydon by going into this jet stream. You practically just skip the rest of the level except you land at this Bowser painting. When you go through, you take control of Bowser and you got to get through this section based around balls. In all fairness, it's pretty easy, but we can get through this and finish Super Mario Odyssey. This game played such a huge part of my childhood. I played this game relentlessly and watched so many YouTube videos on it. Honestly, I really wish Nintendo made Super Mario Odyssey 2, but at this point, I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Anyway, I'm gonna rate this a 10 out of 10. Woo! Oh wait, this game has a story mode. God damn it. So, the story of this game is basically Mario and some toads have finished building Peach's castle in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, and they find a reset rocket in the floor. Then this stupid ass dog comes over and resets all the progress they made. What we have to do is collect money from playing different levels to rebuild the castle. When I said I couldn't remember any levels from New Super Mario Bros 2, I was over exaggerating a bit. With this game, I genuinely couldn't name you one level. I can't remember any of the names, can't remember any of the concepts. This game is just like an extra. Honestly, I'm not even going to talk about this game because this video is already way too long and I don't really want to talk about this game. So, the castle's done. I'm gonna give this game a 1 out of 10, but that's only for the story, because Mario Maker isn't for the story. Mario Maker and Mario Maker 2 were also games that played a huge part in my childhood, and I still watch YouTubers play this game. The 1 out of 10 is just for the story. Mario Maker isn't for the story though, so I don't know. Now, could I maybe get a longer game? This game took like 5 hours to beat. Now, because it's short, it doesn't mean it's bad. This game is basically DLC for Super Mario 3D World, so it plays the exact same. We start off with Mario taking a stroll through the Mushroom Kingdom until he sees this black goop on the floor. Falls up until it leads to an M, which looks very similar. Goop opens up a wormhole and Mario falls down into a darker looking world. He lands with his face in the ground, which... is this even sand? When we arrive, the sky is dark and there's rain pouring down. We can run over a bit to this crashed ship, and this is where we see Bowser, but he looks different. This is Fury Bowser, and it's basically normal Bowser, except he's huge and black. He breathes this fire at us, which destroys these Bowser blocks, and we can use this to collect our first cat shine. This activates the lighthouse, and Bowser scurries away into his shell. The sky brightens up, and we can see a surrounding beach area. If we jump down here, we see BJ looking really scared as he flies around in his clown car. We can meet up with him and he'll tell us that his dad's gone mad and we have to stop him. This game is actually so cool because we actually team up with BJ for the first time in the Mario series. Basically, we can use him to go off and collect items and coins for us. Honestly, I didn't use him much, but it's nice that he's here. If you thought Super Mario 3D World was bad for making everything a furry, This game's a lot worse. Literally everything that exists in this game is a furry. You have the Goombas who have cat ears, the Piranha Creepers who have cat ears, even the fucking trees have cat ears. Nintendo just really are furries. And I quote, meow meow meow. Nothing feels better than the inside of a cat. Nintendo of America, February 12th, 2021. The area we start off in is a mix of a few small areas with a giant cat bell statue in the middle. Our goal is to power up this cat bell and somehow use it to kill Bowser. The first area I explored is a place called Scamper Shores, and this area has these furry guys. We can collect the shine at the top and power up the lighthouse. Basically in each of these areas there are 5 cat shines, and after you collect all these cat shines the lighthouse will be forever on. While I was collecting the second shine in Scamper Shores, the sky turned grey and it started to piss it down. Bowser will be in the middle of the map and he'll pop out of his shell and start blasting us with fire. If he shoots in the right direction, he'll break these Bowser blocks and reveal secrets like this shine. Once we collect 5 cat shines, we can unlock the Giga Bell right in the center, but we still have to wait for Bowser to appear. Basically, once he eventually does, we can collect the cat shine and become huge, and Mario has a sick ass hair. Basically, in this fight, you have to wait until Bowser does this weird attack where he'll try slam down on you and he'll let out his fire beam, which will damage you. When he's down, his belly will be showing and you can ground pound it. If you do this a couple times, we'll deplete his health bar and defeat his first phase. When you defeat him, he goes back into hiding and the next area will rise up out of the ground. We need to collect 15 cat shines to unlock our next Giga Bell. We also unlock Plessy, who is our main source of transport. She works very similar to how she did in 3D World, except she can move in all directions now. She also works on land, which is kinda cool, and she can just smash right through basically anything. But we can use Plessy to make our way over to Slipskate Slope. This place is very cool because instead of it being like an actual island or something, it's very linear with it only containing this massive slope that we get to go down in this big ass ice skate. Anyway, before I even went there, I collected enough shines in the first area to collect the Giga Bell and fight Bowser. This time we don't actually have enough time to fight Bowser and we leave him at half health. To fully kill him we have to collect 5 more shines to unlock the Giga Bell again. There's this one shine I really like that is very similar to the penguin mission in Mario 64. There's basically this mother calico cat and she's missing her child, so what we gotta do is go find her child. There are more times we see her, but each time we have to collect more cats. But we can get to 20 shines and rematch Bowser. We fling this pole at him, he faints, and we unlock the final area already. This area is actually on a higher level to the rest of the world, so we gotta use this shipwreck to get up. But before this, let's go to this arena looking thing. In this arena, we get to fight Bum Bum again, but oh my god, he's a furry! We can defeat him, collect the shine, and the arena rises with a new boss in the middle. This time it's Furry Pom Pom! Yay! Now before we make it to the upper layer, I actually collected 40 shines, which is the requirement for the next Giga Bell. So we'll fight Bowser again until he's at half health and then he'll blast off. For some reason, he came back like right away and I had to collect a shine to make him leave again. The next requirement we need is 50 cat shines to unlock the next Giga Bell. We collect the 47th shine, then the 48th, and we get a message from the Giga Bell. It basically tells us that the shines aren't powerful enough now and Bowser has too much over penis. So for the next 2 shines, we have to collect them while this bastard's trying to kill us. We'll collect enough shines, collect the Giga Bell, and ground pound him to fuck one last time and he'll explode into a bunch of water. I think this time we've finally defeated him. Basically, Bowser is back in his old skin, and he is massive. He collects all the Giga Bells in one and puts this shield thing around it. We spawn in, and Plessy is waiting for us on the dot. Basically, Bowser will jump away from us as we swim towards him. First, he'll attack with his fire breath, and you have to duck under it. Then in his next phase, he'll shoot these spire things at you. And then in the last one, he'll do a combination of both, and then you can crack the shield and the Giga Bell. We hit this shield another 3 times and knock Bowser over. The Giga Bells crack at the shield, and Plessy ends up in their way. Plessy collects all 3 at the same time, and oh my god, she's huge. She basically crushes Bowser and we turn back to normal somehow. Anyways, enough about the end game, let's go to the post game. In the post game, basically nothing appears and all we have to do is collect 50 more cat shines. Again, like Odyssey, I don't really know how I'm supposed to commentate over this because I don't know how to. So, we're on 100 cat shines now. What we have to do is fight Bowser one last time and get our final prize. I really hope it's not Luigi. Fury Bowser has a sick ass white hair and he's a lot harder this time. Basically, he shoots more fire and spikes. He also jumps around a lot more and we have to hit the Giga Bell a lot more times. Basically, we do the exact same thing we just did and beat Bowser for a second time. We go back into the menu, load into the save file, and what the hell? Basically, all we unlock is a small version of the Giga Bell and BJ is a furry. They also made Plessy a furry. But now, I can rate this a 5 out of 10 and move on to our final game. Wait, hold on a minute. Before we move on to Mario Wonder, I thought it'd be funny if I watched the entire Mario movie. When this movie was announced, fans were hyped until they saw this. No! So, for some reason, they got Chris Pratt to voice this instead of literally anyone else. The whole plot of the movie is basically the same as any other Mario game, with Bowser wanting to marry Peach, and he stole everything to get that. Honestly, this movie felt like it went by too quick, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Anyway, that was a short little weird tangent. Let's finally move on to... This game is the final game in the Mario series, and I've never seen gameplay of it. The only thing I knew going into this game is there's elephants and the piranha plants sing. Anyways, let's actually load the game up. What's this? What's this? Mario Bros Wonder. There's an update, right. Give it a moment. I can't start the game! This button broke! You can play as the best Nintendo character. You can play as fucking Daisy. Oh my god! Daisy is actually playable. Basically, we start the game out with all the characters visiting the Flower Kingdom, which is just a short hop away from the Mushroom Kingdom. We are gathered here by the Prince of this kingdom named Prince Florian, and he has gathered us here to show a demonstration of how a Wonder Flower works. Basically, these Wonder Flowers can make genuinely anything happen. I was always on the edge of my seat anytime I collected one of these. Before the Prince can even begin the demonstration, Bowser appears with all his troops and he grabs the Wonder Flower. Now, this game's actually different to the other games. Bowser doesn't just become big in this game, he merges with the Flower Castle. I mean, at least it's something. Bowser flies away and we team up with Florian to defeat Bowser one final time. The first level we go to is Welcome to the Flower Kingdom, and they've actually done a lot of interesting things in this game. Firstly, there's a difficulty meter on each level, which is honestly really helpful in some cases. Secondly, they removed time limits in each level, meaning you can take as long as you want. This honestly might be the best feature in this game. There's a lot of collectibles in each level also. Basically, what you have to do is get the top of the flag, collect all 3 big purple coins, which are basically like star coins, and collect all the Wonder Seeds. Wonder Flowers are required to beat the game, while the other collectibles are just there for people who want to 100% the game, like me. You basically get a Wonder Seed for beating each level, and you also get one for beating the challenge the Wonder Flower throws at you. Some levels also have an extra Wonder Seed if they have a secret exit in them. Basically, the first level introduces us to the basics of the game, and I think it really achieves this well. The only hazard really in this level is these sleeping Goombas. I honestly feel bad for killing them because they ain't doing shit. You can walk a bit further, which takes us to this question mark block, which has the elephant fruit. The fruit turns Daisy into the fabled elephant power-up. This power-up is actually pretty useful. Basically, Daisy is bigger now, so it's harder to get under and into certain areas. You can slash with your trunk, which kills enemies and flings stuff into the air. You can also hold water in your trunk, which allows you to have a bit of range with your trunk. We make it to these pipes and the Wonder Flower spawns. When you collect the Wonder Flower, it brings life to all the pipes and they start to move about the place. There's this one pipe we can ride along and he kind of acts like a worm, but we collect the Wonder Seed and move on to the next level. This level basically revolves around these walking piranha plants because apparently they can just do that. What's really cool about this game is you can actually interact with the background and the foreground. Like in this level we go through this pipe which takes us to the background and we can collect this purple coin. We collect the Wonder Flower and this starts to happen. So, the piranha plants start to sing. That's pretty awesome. They finish their song and we collect the Wonder Seed and end the level. We skip the next level because it's irrelevant and we can use this propeller flower to make it over to the second half of this world. Bowser spreads his oils all over the place, and that wraps places in wonder packings. This level requires a specific amount of Wonder Seeds to unlock, but for this level, already a double of what we need. This level acts as more of a tutorial rather than a level. This level is also a special level type that appears in the game a lot, and these are called badge houses. So this game basically has these things called badges, and each badge basically helps you out a bit. Like for example, the badge you unlock in this level is named the parachute cap, and it basically just does what it says in the tin. It allows you to pull out a massive cap and use it as a parachute. Honestly, I found this badge more useful than any of the other badges, so It's the only one I used. But we can beat this tutorial and move on to our next set of levels. We get to this open area and find a shop. Now these shops are where you can spend the purple coins you collect. You can basically buy lives, or in each world you can buy one wonder seed. We can enter this level named Bull Rush coming through, and we get introduced to these little guys named Bull Rush. These guys are obviously modeled after bulls, and they're really strong. I mean, just look at this. Basically, when we collect the wonder flower, we hear a horn sound in the distance, and a stampede of Bull Rush start to chase us. We can actually use these guys as a platform to get to the goal. Never mind. This is one of the levels that has a secret exit, and this secret exit is just after the goal for some reason. And it's also like extremely long. We can beat this level where nothing really happens, and we can go into this level named Wonder Token Tunes. This level is so cool. Just like listen to this. It's the song from Super Mario World. I honestly thought this level was just really cool. But we've collected enough Wonder Seeds to unlock this Wiggler race level. You can probably guess what this level is, but I'll explain it anyway. We basically have to race a Wiggler to the end of this level, and oh my god, he has roller skates. Anyway, we can beat a few more levels and move on to the final castle of this world. This castle just feels like it's ripped right out of Super Mario World. Like look, it even has these yellow flippy bricks. The castle is just a normal castle, so let's get to the boss fight where we face BJ. This fight is basically the same as any other Mario fight. He'll periodically go into his shell, and you'll get a chance to jump on his head, and he'll turn purple. So basically in these fights, BJ will turn purple, and then literally anything can happen. Like in this fight, he'll make himself really small and make us huge, which isn't the best strategy for him, but we bash him and make our way to our next world. Before we get there though, there are a few in-between levels we have to play, and one of these levels has a new power-up named the Bubble Flower. Basically, you can blow bubbles at enemies, and these bubbles basically work the exact same as the bubbles in new Super Mario Bros U. The next world we go to is named Fluff Bluff Peaks, and this world is this game's Cloud World, so let's write the final cloud theme. Honestly, this theme's a really cool theme, because this world's actually just a mix between a cloud world and a snowy world, so it sounds very Christmassy. 6 out of 10. In the first half of this world, none of the levels are really worth talking about until we make it to a level called Condarts Away. At first, this level's just a standard level theming around these new enemies named Condarts, but the real meat of the level is when you collect the Wonder Flower. What? What the fuck? What? This is fucking... What the hell? What just happened? We can play a few more levels and make it to our first airship level. These levels work differently than the other Mario games. Instead of being a substitute to the castle levels, these levels kind of just appear randomly in the middle of the world. Also, the thing I really like about this game is the castle themed levels. They just look so unique compared to every other Mario game. They all go for this aesthetic of being black with either purple or green neon highlights. You can slowly get through this auto-scroller and make it to the boss. Kinda. These levels don't really have a boss per se, it's more of like a machine. Basically, this Bowser machine will spout out bob-ombs into this conveyor belt, and we gotta dodge these bombs to make it to this button, which for some reason destroys the entire ship. We can play a few more levels and make it to the final castle. The Wonder Flower effect of this level is really weird, like the rest of them. The whole stage goes dark and everything becomes absurdly tall. I didn't say much, but my expression speaks 1,000 words. We collect the Wonder Seed and move on to the fight. We are met with BJ again, and wait, before I complain, every fight is BJ, but he always does something different with the Wonder effect. In this one, he changes the stage to ice. Ooh! He then changes it to cum. Ooh! We defeat him and move on to World 3, Shining Falls. Instead of BJ taking over this world, we actually have somebody who says we have to complete a bunch of trials. I'm sorry, but this is the world that seems to be in every Mario game, which just doesn't have a lot to talk about, so we beat it. Before we go to the next world, we play this level named Jewel Block Cave, and this level introduces a new power-up, and this being the drill power-up. Although this power-up looks very similar to the drill from Super Mario Galaxy 2, it works completely differently. Basically, you can either drill into the floor to sneak under enemies, or drill into the roof and sneak over enemies. It also works like the spiky helmet from Mario Maker, with you not being able to take damage from above. We can beat this level and move on to our next world, Sun-Baked Desert. We go into a level named Bloops of the Desert Sky, and this level has a really weird wonder power. Basically, Nintendo decided to make us bloated again. Nintendo! We can also play another one of these tune levels, and this time it plays Delfino Plaza's music. That is fucking awesome. We can skip past the final castle where we fight BG underwater, and he'll do this weird thing where he reverses the air and water, and we can move on to World 5, the Fungi Mines. This whole world takes place in a bunch of underground levels. This world is similar to World 3, with you not having to fight BG at the end, except with this world, instead of doing trials, we have to save these miners who got lost in the mines. The first level I want to talk about is this level named Light Switch Mansion. This level is like any other ghost house except with these blocks from update 1.6. Except the real level starts when you collect the Wonder Flower. Basically, King Boo appears, and this level is very similar to the singing piranha plants. It's basically an auto-scroller, but with King Boo behind you. If you look at him, he'll hide away, stop singing, and it'll start to scroll slower. A lot of the levels in this world themed around the same wonder effect, and that's the ability to turn into a wubba. These guys might be my favourite Mario enemy of all time. You gain the ability to cling to walls and goo up them. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to talk about, and oh look, I yapped so long that we beat the world. The last world we can make our way over to is the Deep Magma Bog. Honestly, the concept of this world is very cool, mixing a swamp and lava. That's epic! Dude. Bro. 99. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about the level in this world again, because they weren't really that interesting. Except these cute little popcorn guys. Gucci gucci goo! The final boss is also not even that interesting, because BJ just makes everything dark. But we can collect our final royal seed and move on to the final world. Basically, this world takes place inside of Bowser, and we are presented with 4 more extra levels before we can face off with Bowser. The first one of these levels is a level named Missile Meg Mayhem, and it's about these new enemies named Missile Megs. These enemies are part of the Bullet Bill family, alongside Torpedo Teds and Bullet Biffs. These guys are basically really long bullet bills, and you can stand on them to use them as a platform. There's also this really cool part of the Missile Megs having coloured smoke coming out of their ass, and we get an overview of Bowser. This next level, High Voltage Gauntlet, is a level that is themed around being dark, and we have to use electricity to see. This level is okay until we get to the Wonder Flower. Basically, it's the Metal Cat from Mario 64. What's really tragic is I actually didn't record the last 2 levels in half of the last level, so I'm just gonna play through the last level again. This level is an auto-scroller level, except they literally just do whatever they want to. Every 5 seconds, something wacky will happen. But let's just skip through this level and fight the final Bowser. Basically, this final fight is a rhythm game. In the first phase, Bowser will shoot these fire music notes at you, and what you have to do is hit the button underneath Bowser. Basically, the way you reach the button is by jumping on the beat, and when you do, this floor will extend up and launch you up. But you hit this button again, and he starts to jig in the background. He shoots these fire notes at you, and you gotta jump over them. He comes back to the foreground and he goes into phase 2. In this phase, he'll basically cover his button with his hands, and you have to time your jumps even more. He'll go into the background, do his fire note phase, and he'll come back and split the arena up even more. You hit him and his head will pussy off into the background, and he flings these spike balls at you. You hit him one last time and his crown will disappear, revealing a final button. We can platform up these launchers, smash his button, and defeat Bowser. Now, before we finish this whole video, there's an extra road we have to do, of course. So there are these 6 levels based around each world, and we have to beat all 6 to get access to the final level. So I'm a speedrun through each level. Level 1 has you jumping over these hoppos to get to the end. Level 2 has these blocks that appear and disappear to the beat. Level 3 has you on a wall. Level 4 has these infinite poles. Level 5 has these donut blocks, and we have to fall down them. In level 6 we are a ball, and we have to activate these timer blocks. And in level 7 we have to become a Goomba and make it through this obstacle course. Once we've done all of that, we can make our way into a level named the Semi-Final Test Piranha Plant Reprise. This level is like Piranha Plant Parade, but a lot harder. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this level, so let's go into the final level. This level is honestly just more annoying than hard. Firstly, there's poisoning on the ceiling and on the floor, so you can't fall at all or you just die. Also, the game just keeps speeding up and slowing down, which really just throws me off. Also, this stupid pipe. Once we get past this section, it's honestly really easy because I kind of just cheesed it after I found this hidden drill mushroom. The end section is also really cool if you're running away from this rift and the whole thing tilts and hoppos get in your way. Anyway, we collect the Wonder Seed and play the final level. Yes, I lied. This level is actually quite a hard level. Basically, it's a bunch of mini challenges all featuring around a different badge. You start off in a section where you have to use the parachute cap to get to the bottom. Very simple. The next section themes around the high jump badge, which allows you to jump higher. You have to use this platform pump thing to get to the other side. The third section uses the dolphin kick badge, which allows you to swim with ease. We slowly get through this section and make it to a checkpoint, which is right at the start of the crouching high jump part. Basically, if we crouch for long enough, we'll be able to super jump. We can use these speed platforms to jump at the right time and make it to the next section. This one revolves around the wall jump badge. Basically, when we wall jump, we get boosted up a bit. We can use these watermelon piranhas to make it to the top and make it to this next section. This section is the spring jump section, and oh my god, this is the worst thing in the entire game. Basically, the spring badge makes you constantly jump up and down, and there's no way to stop it. You have to schmoove in between these fire bars, but some of them move in such a weird way. Most of my deaths in this level were on this section. Also, anytime I died, I'd have to play the previous two sections again just to get a chance at beating it. Anyway, we get past this and get to the second checkpoint. This section is the rocket run section, and you basically can't stop running. You have to use these slopes to run up to the end. The next section is the Mario Galaxy section. Basically, this badge lets us do a mid-air spin, as said by this guy. We make it through here and get to this grapple hook section where we gotta get past these magma rock things while using a grapple hook. This section is fairly easy and I didn't even die once. We get to the top and make it to this final section. In this section, you use the invisibility badge, which is pretty self-explanatory. You have to make it through this bog standard course, except you can't see where you are. There's a lot of bouncing things, but there's also clouds to kind of make sense of where you are. Then we get to the most difficult part of this level, the bloomp section. These are basically little balloon guys, and when you jump on them, they'll boost a bit. This section was so hard, so let's just go. Okay, let's try again. Yes! That's it! I've beat every Mario game! Wonder gets an 9 out of 10, by the way. Woo! We finished with a time of 278 hours, 40 minutes, 16 seconds, and 18 milliseconds. This video genuinely just took so long to make, and that's not just including the recording. I genuinely bit off way more than I could chew with this video, but I really enjoyed making it. This video took so long to record, script, edit. Like, the least you could do is subscribe. Honestly, I do really like this video format, but I don't know if I'll ever do it again. So, I guess that's it. I finally beat every Mario game!
Ocean Man.